Welcome to another deadline stream, and we've got such a quick turnaround. It's great to see so many of you in the chat. I'm going to try my very best to get through every single question and comment, and let's try to get this stream to over 200 likes. We're going to try to get to that target as we go along and go through all of your questions and queries. The big news, obviously, is Reece James is missing out. We're going to be covering that. And will Erling Haaland start? That's all going to be down to what we think, and we just don't know. Pep Guardiola didn't give much away as predicted in his press conference. But let's go straight into your questions. What you can see on screen is how I did last week in Game Week 4. I'm going to be revealing my team later on in the video, but those of you that have seen my team selection and my reaction stream will know what I've done. I've made the 2 free transfers already, and I will also have my team up on screen later in this stream. So welcome to everyone. It's good to see you here. Let's whiz through these. Jesus. Thorson Solanki, well, I just wouldn't go for him right now. He's someone to keep an eye on for the future because I did highlight him in pre-season, of course. He had a great campaign last time out, but would I go for him just yet? No. I'd rather have Mitrovic, Ivan Toney around the same price, but I'm guessing that was a sarcastic one. 2 free transfers, Diaz and 4.5 million mid for Diaz, Robertson, for Rodrigo and Nico Williams. Thoughts? Yeah, it's a difficult one, to be honest. I think there's a kind of merit between each single pick you have. I'm guessing, yeah, Diaz, Robert for Rodrigo, and Nico Williams. I don't know. I don't know if you should do that, to be honest. It's kind of a difficult one. Where can I get concrete news on Reece James? It's already out, to be honest. There's several reputable sources. We're going to go through them very soon. Apparently Reece is out for 4 weeks. I'm not sure about that. Apparently it was a precaution and he's ill. That's what someone else is saying. I'm going to go through that very soon. Afternoon, Kev. Damn, no James. That was my only Chelsea player. To be fair, Chelsea weren't looking that great anyway, but Reece James was still doing pretty well, all things considered. Welcome, Kobe. Zinchenko and James both absent. James is. Zinchenko has a chance of playing tomorrow, but James is going to be out of the game. Welcome, Pat. Ahmed says best 8 million midfielder. For me, it's Maddison or Diaz, to be honest. Those are the main two at the moment. I'm quite surprised because I like Saka and Mason Mount heading into this season, but they haven't delivered so far. But Maddison and Diaz are definitely the standouts. Ramsdale to Mendy, what do you think? I wanted Sanchez, but I have Dunk already. That's the thing. I wouldn't go as far to double up on Brian. It might not be too bad for the next 5 game weeks, but in the long term, I would rather just have one. I think 2's a bit too much. And games like Fulham, you know, Brighton could do very well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they concede a goal. What should I do with Reece James, keep or sell? Well, I put a poll out, as you can see. Be sure to vote there and let your feelings be known. I think we should hold him if you can. And if you look at my situation, as we'll get onto very soon, it will be Reece James dropping to the bench for someone like Andreas Pereira. And I'm happy to do that. I could take a -4 and go to Ivan Perisic, but I don't think it's worth it this week, to be honest. If it's for free, fair enough. But for a hit, it's just not on, to be honest. I think Reece James is a good long-term hold. Welcome, Toby. Would you play Neto versus Bournemouth or buy Gross? That's the thing. I did that thing, so I got rid of Neto for Gross, and I think long-term I will benefit from it. I could be burned this week, though, and if there's ever a chance that Neto's going to deliver and Wolves' assets will finally get some goals, it's going to be this one against Bournemouth. But Scott Parker has been sacked today, the first manager this season, and maybe Bournemouth will bring in an interim manager, be resolute, play 5 at the back, and be very, very solid. And to be fair, they were playing 5 at the back before, and it wasn't working. But honestly, I would sell, but there's nothing wrong with keeping Neto for another week, to be honest. It does make sense. Perisic in for Walker and Mount out for a City mid. I like it long term, but I'm not sure if getting Perisic in now is the best time because he does face West Ham, and then I think he's going to be benched against Fulham in Game Week 6. I don't see him starting 3 games in a week with the Champions League also around the corner. And by the way, for those of you that have been asking, the UCL Fantasy video, the updated draft, is actually available now for members, and it will be out tomorrow for everyone. So stay patient. It will be out very soon, and it's all done. And I'll be doing a team selection video later in the week as well. James and De Silva out for Duncan Harrison. I mean, it does look good. It's a much better duo, but I still like Reece James in the long term. However, if you really want to upgrade De Silva, and the only way to do that really is to do Reece James down to Dunk, it's fine. It's completely fine. But I'm of the opinion that James is worth keeping if possible. Welcome, Lag. I have 2 free transfers: Zinchenko to Patterson, James to Saliba, Gabriel, or maybe even Emerson Real, Archer to Tony for a -4. The thing is, I mean, I would only do that if that's the only way it's possible to do Archer to Tony for a -4. Because Zinchenko to Patterson, I just don't like that too much. If you are really big at the back and you've got 5 quite expensive defenders, you could say, then fair enough. But I just don't like Patterson right now. I thought he'd be a better option heading into pre-season, but it just hasn't turned out to be the case. And Everton are even worse than I expected. So I like James to Saliba, potentially, but I'm not too sure about Zinchenko to Patterson, to be honest. Walker for Cucurella, as he may get rested. Getting rid of Cucurella for Walker, if that's the case, no, I wouldn't do that. And I actually prefer Cucurella for Walker, who I did talk about selling actually in the weeks to come in my transfer tips video. I'm not sure if Walker will be the kind of first choice right back in the weeks to come. I think it might be Joao Cancelo, and Sergio Gomez might fit the system that Pep Guardiola is trying to play even better. Obviously, Walker has been doing it for years in Manchester City, but they're playing now with kind of 2 inverted fullbacks, and I just don't really know if he's that comfortable. He hasn't looked that great. And in terms of FPL points, Walker, apart from clean sheets, you're not going to get too much from him, to be honest. So, yeah. Yeah, News, yeah, that's completely right, FPL Hints. James News is a worry, but this is the thing. I've saw a few people in the live chat talking about him being out for several weeks. The kind of sources I trust are saying that it's just a precaution. So let me get through that right now, since everyone's going to be talking about Reece James. So let's bring up the screen. So the first bit of news, kind of concrete, is Simon Phillips saying that he's not going to be risked tonight. It's only precautionary, and Billy Gilmore has travelled with the squad. So that's pretty much all we've got on that front. And yeah, I think Chelsea will still be fine, but it's a big blow for those of us with Reece James, because I thought Southampton away was a great fixture for him, despite the fact that Chelsea have been one of the worst defences so far this season. Now, that is just one bit of news. Simon Phillips is reliable when it comes to Chelsea news. But then we've got another one here by Nathan Gissing, and he says Reece James misses Chelsea's game against Southampton through illness. That obviously is completely the opposite of people saying he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. I don't think that's going to be the case. However, I don't know which sources have said that, because it might be a reliable source saying that as well. So let me know. But try to be very careful when you see kind of the bits of news around on Twitter, because a lot of people spread false information, especially for clout, for likes and all of that stuff. So be very careful. In terms of other news that might not be that relevant today, but something to keep an eye on for the future, is Manchester City. They're very close to signing Akanji from Borussia Dortmund, and that's something to keep an eye on for UCL Fantasy specifically, not so much in FPL, I believe. And the other one is Lucas Paqueta. He is 6 million. That is quite surprising, to be fair. I think that's a pretty good price for him. I don't think he's amazing in terms of goal contributions, but still a very nice price rise, a very nice price nonetheless, and very intriguing. Something to monitor in the weeks to come. But West Ham haven't looked that great, as we all know. And then the kind of final thing to really mention is Pep talking about Haaland and the possibility of him playing tomorrow. Tomorrow you will see. Classic Pep Guardiola, not giving anything away. We all love Pep for that reason, don't we? Yeah, we do. But we'll go back to this screen for a little bit more before we kind of start revealing my team slowly but surely. So pretty much Reece James is missing out tonight. I don't think it's long term, and I trust Simon Phillips and also Nathan Gissing, I believe his name was, with the information they brought today. Welcome, Tez. I'm doing well. What about you? Captain De Bruyne or Salah? I'd go for De Bruyne this week, although he is slightly more likely to be benched. But I believe City are going to go strong against Nottingham Forest and possibly make some kind of rotations in Game Week 6, but I could be wrong about that. We don't know how Pep is going to think, to be honest. James for Perisic or Cucurella? I'd rather go to Perisic in the long term, but if you're getting Perisic in right now, especially for a -4, bear in mind he's playing West Ham next, which could be a tough game, and then he's probably going to be benched against Fulham. Perisic is a huge rotation risk. I think Cucurella's more nailed, but Perisic is, for me, the better option when he gets the minutes. Best 7.6 million and under forward. For me, it's Tony, then it'd be Mitrovic. I'm not a big fan of the rest. Obviously, we'll see how Solanki does. We haven't seen him enough, or at all, should we say, this season. But yeah, those are my top 2. Yeah, make sure you have a good sub one, exactly. Mine is Andreas Pereira, so it's not that great, but I'm willing to maybe, just have him in for this week and keep James for the long term. But if we get any news about Reece James being out for a long time, then I will possibly take a -4. Captain De Bruyne or Salah? Yeah, for me, it's going to be De Bruyne out of those two, but they're both great options. Hey, Dylan, should I hold Zinchenko with Andreas De Silva on my bench or replace Zinchenko? I would hold Zinchenko, as I talked about in my transfer tips. I haven't changed my mind there. He is actually in contention to start tomorrow. Partey is the one that's going to be out for several weeks, and El Neni is the big injury for Arsenal. He could be out for several months, it seems. It's a long-term injury on the surface. With 0.1 in the bank, should I take out Saka? I think he'll do well against Aston Villa, so I would possibly hold him for another week, but in the long term, he is a sell, and I agree with you. And you could go to maybe Maddison, Gundogan, Zaha, Rodrigo. Take your pick there, also Gross, but it just depends what you really want to do with the rest of your money, to be fair. Trippier's injured. Well, from what I've seen in the last few days, and maybe I'm out of date when it comes to Trippier, apparently he should be fine, and it's just subject to a late fitness test, but if I am wrong about that, then be sure to correct me. I want to see if kind of a reliable source has said that. Thorson Solanki, he's just someone you want to really bench, to be honest. He's not someone I want to have in the long term, starting week in, week out. And I said this even after his 2 goals in the first 2 games, because they were quite unsustainable. He's a good player, but in terms of FPL, he's not someone you can rely on, I think. Azpilicueta or Harrison in the 11? I'd go for Harrison, but try not to spam the chat, because I want to go through your questions, but you're going to get in the way of other people as well. My bench, Andreas and De Silva. Who should I play for Reece James? That's a tough one. That's a really tough one, but I think I'd go for Josh De Silva. The thing is, though, he is facing Crystal Palace. I mean, it's tough games for both of them, to be fair, but I think I'd just about go for De Silva. Really close one, though. Mount out for Diaz. Best 4.7 or lower mid defender. For me, it's Saliba right now, but do not forget Dunk, especially if you don't have Sanchez in goal or any Brighton coverage, and Botman. Those are my top 3 right now. And I would go for Saliba as my number 1 pick. I think Schär is also 4.7, so you could consider him of a Botman, but all of those 4 are pretty good. Cancelo, good captaincy option. I think he's a good one, but there are better ones out there. Then again, I said that about Trent last week, and then he was one of the very best in the game. So it's completely up to you. But Cancelo for me is the best amongst defenders. That's, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Walker in, Zinchenko out. I wouldn't do that personally because I don't like Walker in the long term. You might benefit with a clean sheet this week, but I just don't really like Walker's prospects in the future. Even if he gets the minutes, I just don't like him as an FPL option. And I think Zinchenko will be available against Aston Villa. And if so, he will start. But let's wait and see. Captain Cancelo, I'm seeing quite a few of these going about. It's a good option, but I think Haaland would be my preference despite the kind of rotation risk with him. Time to let Robertson go. I think you could still keep him. It just depends what you're going to do. Because if you have a weak midfield and you have really, maybe let's say an expensive defence, you're big at the back with 5 quite expensive defenders, then you could downgrade someone like Robertson, and that's fair enough. But otherwise, I'd maybe keep, and that's what I'm doing for now. Let's now go, actually, since I think... we're getting closer and closer to the deadline. Obviously, there's still a long way to go, but it's great to see so many of you in here. We've got over 300, so let's try to smash the like button and let's get to over 200 likes in this stream. Thank you very much. I'm going to now show you my team so you can see kind of my thoughts on everything. It's not fully updated because this was all set up before the kind of Reece James injury, or should I say the illness, whatever it is. But here we go. We're on the screen right now. And Robert Sanchez is in goal. One of my 2 free transfers this week. It's very rare for me to make a goalkeeper transfer, but I think in the long run I will benefit from it. And I'm not that confident of Arsenal clean sheets in the next 3 or 4 games. So I did get rid of Ramsdale, and I didn't like the lack of saves he made. He's making some good saves, very good saves, but not enough to get those points. So he has made way. And then we've got 5 at the back, but Reece James will now drop to the bench for my first sub, who you'll see very soon. But I did already say that already. And the free midfielders, Gross, my second signing, so I'm going really big with Brighton. It could be a mistake, it could be. I think Fulham's a tough game, but I like the fixtures in general. Salah is in here, and I still think he's a great captaincy option. Do not rule out the Egyptian because he's still one of the best options, if not the best in the game, despite probably an all-time loan for him in Game Week 4. Martinelli is also there to complete the midfield, and I have to say, if it wasn't for the Reece James injury illness, I would have been very, very happy with this 11 overall. So there's always something that pops about, and maybe that's why we should wait until the end. But I pulled the trigger quite early on the Sunday, I believe. And then finally, the 2 forwards, Haaland and Gabriel Jesus. A lot of people looking to captain Gabriel Jesus this week with the rotation risk surrounding Haaland, but I'm not really feeling it this week. That's not to mean that he can't do well, and if you back him, go for it. I'm just offering my opinion. I'm just not really feeling Jesus for the captaincy, and let's wait and see if I'm completely wrong about that. And there you go, my captain and vice captain. I am going for the rotation risk, Erling Haaland. My belief, and it's just kind of a really 50-50 decision here, is that he's going to start in Game Week 5 against Forest and possibly be benched in Game Week 6 against Aston Villa, and then he will start the Champions League and in Game Week 7 as well. Should be very interesting to see. Salah is my vice captain, but a few other options in my kind of team to captain would be Cancelo and Jesus. I think Cancelo would be my preference over the Brazilian, and Andres Pereira there is my first sub. He will come on for Reece James, unless I suddenly decide in the last kind of hour or so that I'm going to make a -4 and maybe get rid of Reece James for Perisic, but I just don't think it's going to be worth it for me. But let's wait and see. It's a good team, but the Reece James news has obviously reduce the appeal for this week. Haaland or KDB captain? It's very close. I think I'd go for KDB this week. Do I start Veltman? It depends who you start him over, to be fair, but I think it's a good option. I'm not that confident of a clean sheet against Fulham, but he's also got a good fixture on paper still. My team: Sanchez, Cancelo, James, Trent, Perisic, Salah, Martinelli, Rodrigo, Tony, Kane, Jesus. Who should I sell? Honestly, right now, I don't think you need to sell anyone, even Reece James, as long as you have decent cover on the bench. In terms of captain and vice captain, it's completely up to you. But I think I would go for Salah captain, and I'd probably vice captain Harry Kane or Cancelo. But up to you. I think they're all good options. Are you selling, benching Reece James? I am keeping him right now. I'm keeping him. But I'm still open to the idea of selling him. But I have to say, if he's only out for one game and I like him in the long term, I keep talking about him in the best wildcard team videos, I just don't see a real need to get rid of him, especially for a -4. Is James going to start? No, he's going to be out, it looks like. Haaland or Salah captain? I'm going for Haaland, but both great options. Salah's a bit safer. Haaland is probably got the highest ceiling of any player other than De Bruyne this week. Best 7.6 million under forward. Like I told you already, for me it's Tony, but there's some other good options like Mitrovic. What's the Reece James news? He is out as a precaution. Another source that's quite reliable said he is ill, so it's nothing, long-term or major. He should be back by the weekend, if not by the latest, probably Game Week 8. Am I losing count? Game Week 7, should I say. But yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about him in the long term. It's just a blow for Game Week 5. Is Zaha still injured? I think the other day, I think it was straight after the Crystal Palace Man City game, Vieira seemed quite, reserved when asked about it. We don't have any updates, so let's wait and see. I think it's just a knock, but he could be out for another week. We just don't know yet. I would probably hold on to him, but if you have no good cover on the bench, then it would be a bit of a worry. But yeah, Zaha is so important to Palace. As soon as he's available, he's going to start. Harrison or Gross? It's very close, Before last week, I would have said Harrison, and just with how well he played against Leeds, that would have slightly made me shift towards Gross. But it's so early on in the season, I would go for Gross, but Rodrigo's still my preference over Pascal Gross, to be fair. It's very close between those three. Rodrigo first, I'd put Gross second, and Harrison third. Welcome, You Never Walk Alone Anchor. Thank you very much for the super chat. Hi, keep Salah one more week or get Kevin De Bruyne with spare funds to get Darwin next week. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in and for the super chat. It's much appreciated. I would keep Salah for one more week. There's always a huge temptation to go to someone like De Bruyne, who promises some very big returns. He's probably been the best premium this season, along with Erling Haaland. I would probably just keep Salah, to be fair. I still have faith in him, and I think he's going to do very well against Newcastle, to be fair. Best Ramsdale replacement apart from Sanchez? If you want someone around the same price, then Dean Henderson would be another one. But honestly, I wouldn't sell Ramsdale for any other goalkeeper other than Sanchez. But that's just kind of my opinion there. Will James play? No, he won't. Like we said before, he's not going to play. What do you think about Brighton's Estupinian? Any other better 4.5? He's a good option. I think in terms of assist threat, he has the highest potential in the Brighton team. But then you have Lewis Dunk, who's going to be more nailed, and he's got goal threat. So Dunk will be my preference. I also like Botman, Ben White, who arguably playing better defences, especially with Arsenal. But they're all quite similar level right now, especially Arsenal and Brighton. I think Estupinian is actually a nice one that you mentioned there. He's maybe a bit suspect defensively, but very, very good going forward. He's quite strong. He's quite quick as well. So he could be quite impressive. But in terms of 4.5 million options, I would prefer Lewis Dunk, to be fair, from the same team. Will Veltman start? Honestly, I don't know. It's all, I think, subject to a late fitness test. I can't tell you that. Captain KDB, no problem with that. I think if I had him, I probably would captain him, to be fair, even over Haaland. Yeah, in terms of how many weeks is James going to miss out, based on what we've seen so far from the reliable sources, it looks like he's only going to miss out today or, this game week. So I think he's worth holding, to be fair. Zinchenko, sell or keep? I think he's a keep, to be fair. That's just the way I see it. Thank you, FPL Diamond, for the shout out. Thank you very much. Worth a -4 to get Gross for the silver and bench Trippier. Ooh, that's a great question. I think it's worth a -4. I think it is. I'd be a bit reluctant, but I think Gross is looking incredible. He should have had more assists in Game Week 4, and his underlying numbers are good, although not as good as Rodrigo, perhaps. But Gross and Rodrigo would be great replacements for a -4 for the silver, so I would do it. But if you already have good cover, then maybe you don't need to do it, basically. So it depends on your team situation, but I would say it is. Thank you for the super chat, mate. Do I keep Zinchenko in for Andreas? Yes, I would do that. Zinchenko either starts or just doesn't play at all. That's the way I see it. Yeah, my transfers were Ramsdale to Sanchez, which is very rare for me to do, and Neto out for Pascal Gross. Maybe both of those transfers out will burn me in the short term in this Game Week 5, because Ramsdale arguably has a better chance of keeping a clean sheet against Villa compared to Sanchez against Fulham. And Pascal Gross, I mean, despite how well he's doing, Neto is facing Bournemouth. But yeah, I'm quite happy with those transfers in the long term. So there you go. Let's wait and see what happens. Yeah, I do, Ian. It's just right now. I don't know why. Zinchenko to Ben White? No, I just keep Zinchenko. Subscribe. Thank you, Melvin, for the shout out. KDB, Salah, Haaland, Jesus, captain. I like all of them a lot, but I think it'd be KDB or Haaland. That would be my top pick, and then Salah. Yeah, Abinash, I answered your question already, mate. Like I said already, Andres Pereira would probably be the safer pick. I mean, this is the thing. Azpilicueta will probably start against Southampton. I'll go with Azpilicueta. That's my final answer. It's up to you what you do with that. You think Saliba's a buy? This is the thing. It's a bit of an awkward time to buy Saliba. I think he's the best at 4.7 and under. But against Villa, possibly a clean sheet. And as Everton as well, I'd say. But then you have United as well mixed into that. And the fixtures after don't look great for Arsenal. So he is a good purchase. But I would expect the points to slowly die down for these Arsenal defenders, especially Saliba. Sold KDB for Sterling, good choice. I don't think it's a good choice, but look, Sterling's not a bad option, that's for sure. I just think De Bruyne is even better and worth the extra millions. I'd go for De Bruyne over Haaland as the captain, but both great options. Salah or Haaland, well, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but you can see on screen, I've got Haaland as my captain and Salah vice, so that does give you an insight into what I'm thinking, and it's just the risk with Haaland. That's the thing. Salah's going to be safer. It's completely up to you. I'm going for Haaland. I think he's going to start in Game Week 5, but there's nothing wrong with going with Salah. Everyone's going to go off him. Salah's still one of the best options in the game. -4 dunk for cash. I wouldn't take a -4 for that, to be honest. You need the clean sheet or an attack and return to really make that worthwhile, so I wouldn't do it. Do I take James out? Depends on your team, but I would say no if you can. I think James is a great long-term hold. Estupinian or Saliba? I'd go for Saliba still. Should I play bench boost with Alisson, Rodrigo, Harrison and James on the bench? No, because James is missing out today. And as good as Rodrigo, Harrison and Alisson are, you could just start him. I'm not sure which players you're starting over them, but I just don't think it's worth a bench boost, especially with Reece James missing out this week. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the fixtures and the attacking threat, Estupinian is better than Saliba, but I still back Arsenal to do pretty well, and I think Saliba is a better option than Estupinian in isolation, but, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. Worth doing Estupinian and Luis Diaz for Sancho and Walker? Yes, I think so, but you could hold off the Walker move for another week because he is facing Forest. I'm not sure exactly when he's going to be benched or if Sergio Gomez will be the main starter, but I just have doubts about Walker. I don't see him being a great option, but I would keep him for this week. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyone who's spamming, you're going to be timed out by the admins and stuff like that. So, yeah, just try not to spam the chat. I'm going to go through all your questions. Just try to be patient. James to Perisic and the silver to Rodrigo. It looks really good to me. Just bear in mind, Hoxton, Perisic will probably play against West Ham, which is a tough game, and then he's going to be benched against Fulham most likely. So that is going to be not ideal, and Reece James will probably be available by Game Week 6 or 7. The silver to Rodrigo is a great move, though, and if you need to do James to Perisic in order to afford it, fair enough, I'd go ahead, but I still prefer Reece James long-term compared to Ivan Perisic. We're now going to go to the FPL website and show a few other kind of stats and stuff along the way, but yeah, very, very interesting stuff with the Reece James news breaking and kind of populating the whole thing that we're talking about all of a sudden, which is a bit of a shame for those of us with Reece James, but there we go. So yeah, that's my team. You know, I made the transfers. My captain is Haaland right now. It's very risky, but I'm willing to take that risk. No problem, Hoxton. It's good transfers, and look, Perisic is one of the best options in the game, but it's just the kind of minutes that are going to be an issue. Yeah, I agree, Eagle. I wouldn't sell James either if you can help it. Cancelo and Andreas, or Walker and Rodrigo. I still prefer Cancelo and Andreas, to be honest. As long as you can bench Andreas, he's not someone I want to start week in, week out, but I don't like Walker that much, so yeah, it would be that. Selling Robbo and De Silva for Saliba and Gundogan. To be honest, I like that a lot, Faddy. I would do it. Maybe not this week, you could argue, with Robertson, but honestly, it's a good transfer long term. I'd go ahead with it, as much as I like Robertson. Odegaard, hold or sell? Well, with the form that Odegaard is in, I would hold him, but he's still someone that I don't like that much in the grand scheme of things. I prefer Rodrigo, Gross, Trossard, and also Arsenal midfielders like Martinelli. So that's just the way I see it. Can Haaland get more points in the 30 minutes than Salah in 90? Well, the reason why I'm captaining Haaland is because I believe he will start the game and get 60, 70 minutes and possibly be benched against Villa. In 30 minutes, he could definitely. You know, Haaland's an absolute goal machine. And you know what? Since you raised a really good point, let's now go to the stats. And I mean, just look at this, for example. I mean, Salah is, you know, the best FPL option of all time. But look at Erling Haaland. 10 big chances. It's absolutely unbelievable. He's even got a higher expected assist figure than Salah and more big chances created. I mean, just look at these stats. They're absolutely unbelievable. He's almost got double the amount of shots than Salah. On target, he's already got more than double. 17 shots inside the box. Erling Haaland is a goal machine. He doesn't get many touches overall. He's not that involved in the build-up, you could say. But one other thing he really does well is kind of making these runs that drag defenders away and opens up the spaces for others. Haaland's a great signing. He could be the best of the summer. And, you know, they only signed him for 60 million or something. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, Haaland for me, if he starts, he's probably going to be the best captain, other than maybe De Bruyne. Should I play Robertson? I would play him. I think he's going to start as well. Yeah, Rafik, I answered your question already, mate. I'll answer it one more time. For me, it's going to be De Bruyne over Haaland, but it's really close. Mount out for Diaz and Ramsdale for Sanchez for 2 free transfers. Yep, I'd do it. I think it's worth it. Do you think Gundogan starts? I believe he will. But then again, I'm saying this about all of these players, but I think Gundogan will start. It just depends on how Pep views his Champions League team and what he views as his first team at the moment. But Gundogan's a great option regardless. When he gets those starts, and even off the bench, he can do so well. And I would start him anyway. Haaland or Kane? I still prefer Haaland, but he is more of a minutes risk, of course. Start 2 of Walker, Stones, Kilman and Collins. Probably Walker and Stones. James to Stones? No, I wouldn't do that. I would keep James. Should you captain Kane if you don't have Haaland or KDB? I still prefer Salah over Kane this week, but Kane is a good option. He always is, and he is slowly but surely picking things up. And even when he started quite poorly, he's been getting returns against Chelsea, for example. So he is a good option, but I prefer Salah and a few others. Why are you playing James over Andreas? I'm not. It's just the team that I had earlier. It's kind of all the graphics I had set up. Unfortunately, not enough time to kind of change things. But yeah, Andreas he'll come on anyway. I mean, I get what you mean. I could just start Andreas, but just in case I've got Reece James in there, it doesn't really matter. Reece James isn't going to come off the bench and get a 1-pointer, so it just doesn't really hurt anyway. I support Arsenal in the Premier League, Christian. Any news on Zaha? No news, unfortunately. He's got a knock, and we just don't know if he's going to be available now or later on. Yeah, thank you, FPL Diamond. Thank you. I have 2 free transfers. I'm thinking of doing James and Zinchenko to Perisic and Cucurella. 2 good players you're bringing in, but I would keep Reece James if you can. And Zinchenko, in my opinion, will start against Villa. And worst case scenario for me, he starts against Man United. But look, to be honest, if you're kind of breaking it down, it's not a bad time to get rid of Zinchenko, even if he is fit. So you could do Zinchenko to Cucurella or Perisic, but I would keep Reece James, honestly. I think it's worth it. Kane to Haaland, that's the thing, you know, it's really tough. I prefer Haaland a little bit more, but I wouldn't do one to the other. Whether you have Haaland and you want to go to Kane or do Kane to Haaland, I wouldn't do it. I would just stick with what you have, to be honest, until you wildcard. Benching James to start Estupiñán, that looks fine to me. And honestly, Reece James he's not going to play today, isn't he? So that's completely fine. James to Estupiñán for Tony to Jesus and De Silva to Gross. Yeah. The thing is, Tony to Jesus doesn't seem necessary. I think Jesus will score more points, especially if you look at the fixture. I think Crystal Palace away is really tough, and I expect Palace to actually win that game. But I wouldn't do Tony to Jesus, to be honest. And De Silva to Gross looks great. I would do maybe De Silva to Gross if you can afford it. I wouldn't do the other moves, though, personally. Yeah, James isn't playing. He isn't playing. So I might just sub him out anyway, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to be subbed off automatically, so do not worry about that. Would you prefer James to Dunk or James to Diaz? Really tough question. For me, Man City will keep more clean sheets than Brighton, but there's also a 1.5 million difference between the two. I think Dunk has more attacking threat. So if you don't have Sanchez in goal or any Brighton coverage in defence, I would go for Lewis Dunk, but it's really, really close. Thank you for the super chat there, Harry Bow. And thank you, Simon Powell. Game over sticker. Thank you very much for that. You're a legend, so thank you very much. You didn't have to. Is Haaland playing? I think he is. Do not hold me to that. It's just my opinion. So if he doesn't start, I don't want to see death threats or something like that. Let's keep it easy. It's just a game. I think he's going to start in Game Week 5 and be benched in Game Week 6, but we have no way of knowing for sure. Should I start De Silva or Andreas? I'd probably go for De Silva, but it's really close. You'd probably ask me in an hour's time, and I'd say Andreas Pereira. If you look at the form, Andreas looks better, and Fulham have been better in the last 2 or 3 games compared to Brentford, but honestly, I'd probably go for De Silva. It's really close. Should I start De Silva? Oh, yes, I just answered that. Should I start Neto or Dallo in front of Reece James? I'd go for Neto. I don't trust United defensively, and despite how poor Leicester have been, if Maddison's fit, I think Leicester will score a few goals there, possibly 1 or 2. And yeah, I just think that Neto, if there's ever a chance he's going to score or get an assist, it will be this time. Why is James out? I think he's ill. Either way, it's kind of a precaution. Simon Collins said that, and another source said that he's ill. It's not long term from what we've seen. It's actually very nice to see a lot of Estupinian kind of thoughts and comments here. It's quite surprising, but very good point that you guys raised. I think he is a good option in the future. I just prefer Lewis Dunk, to be honest, but yeah. Cucurella Dunk in for me and Zinchenko. Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good, to be fair. As much as I would recommend keeping Zinchenko if you can, it's not a bad time to get rid of him. And I think I don't like Brentford defensively, so I would probably do that. Thank you for the super chat, Scott Armstrong. Very much appreciate to all of you. James Rodrigo and Gross, or Cucurella, Gross and Rodrigo have to switch James and Zinchenko, as there is a potential both of them and Haaland don't play. Really good question that you pose. I've got to think about that one, actually. So, as a trio, I still prefer James, Rodrigo and Gross. The only thing is that you have to stomach the absence of James this week. They're both good duos, by the way, don't get me wrong, but James, Rodrigo and Gross for me is even better, and I think James will score more points than Cucurella. There is a 1 million difference. If you can make a significant upgrade elsewhere, then fair enough, but yeah, the first trio is better for me. Have to switch James and Zinchenko, as there's a potential both of them, and Haaland don't play. That's fair enough. I can see what you mean, but I still would go for James, Rodrigo and Gross, and also, even if Haaland doesn't start, he will probably come on for a 1-pointer or maybe do something from the bench. So it's a really tough one there. Thank you once again for the super chat. You didn't have to, mate. James, Martinelli and Gross, or Cucurella, Gross and Rodrigo. Messed up the first message. Oh, okay. Fair enough, because, yeah, I was just thinking James or Cucurella was the difference. Still, for me, it'd be James, Martinelli and Gross. Sorry to say the same answer, but it has to be that. I prefer Martinelli over Rodrigo a little bit more, despite the huge difference in terms of the underlying numbers, and Rodrigo is arguably more integral to Leeds than Martinelli is for Arsenal, but the first trio looks even better. It's very close, by the way. It's literally 50-50, but I would go for the first. Thank you very much for that, mate. Should I keep Foden? I'd probably keep him, because if he starts against Forest, he'll probably get a huge return, but in the long term, I think there are better options around the same price, like Maddison, Diaz, Gundogan, Zaha, Rodrigo, Gross. Yeah, James isn't playing. He's out. He's out pretty much for this week. He will probably be back for the weekend or by Game Week 7. James plus Kane to Haaland plus Walker -4 worth it? No. For me, no, because you're getting rid of James and you're downgrading to Walker. I don't think that's a good move, in my opinion. Obviously, it's just my opinion. Kane to Haaland, I wouldn't do a -4 either way. Even if Haaland starts and does really well, as we all expect him to, I just don't know. There is still a risk of him being benched in Game Week 5, and you could be burned by that move significantly. You might benefit from it in Game Week 5 a lot, but in the long term, I think James to Walker is a downgrade, so I wouldn't do that, mate. Yeah, Andrew, sorry. I'm sorry. The channel isn't big enough or anything like that. It's just the chat's really busy today. I'm trying to get through everything. So if you can, put your question again and I'll try my best to go through it. I'm not trying to skip any questions. It's really tough. Like I keep on saying to everyone, the more people that are in here, the harder it becomes to give detailed answers and also go for everything. Yeah, I'd go for the Silva over Andreas, but really reluctantly, to be fair. Is Haaland starting? I believe so, but don't hold me to that. James to who? To Sons? And Patterson to Saliba for -4. Oh, I'm Stones, sorry. That's my fault. No, I wouldn't do James to Stones. I think Patterson to Saliba is a nice upgrade, but I wouldn't do it for a -4. Haaland is the captain choice of Dylan. Yeah, obviously, new people come into the chat, so that's understandable, but yeah, I'm trying to go through different questions as well. Is it worth getting De Bruyne instead of Salah for a -4? No. Honestly, I think Salah can still do a great job this week. It's not worth getting rid of him, especially for a -4. I wouldn't do it personally. It's not necessarily James to Cucurella being bad. I just prefer James in the long term. It's completely up to you, because if you are looking at making another move and that extra million goes a long way, then that might be the right move for you. But I think in most people's cases, I would stick with James. I think he's a better option than Cucurella. I wouldn't get rid of James for a -4, personally. James plus Neto out, Dunk and Gross in. It's a good set of transfers you're making. If that's the only way you can do Neto to Gross, then fair enough, I'd do it. Otherwise, I'd keep James. And to be honest, Neto might be decent this week for once. I took a hit to bring Cancelo and Dunk for Diaz and Vestergaard. My bench is worst. Vestergaard, Archer and Murphy. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think Cancelo and Dunk is a better duo. I think that's the right call, Melvin. Which two captains? From the same team, I would say De Bruyne and Haaland. Those are my top 2 options this week. But to give someone else, I think Salah's still up there. He's in my top 3. So one of De Bruyne or Haaland and Salah. Those are my best options for the captaincy this week. Zaha played today. Honestly, I wish I can tell you, but I have no idea. We are kind of in the dark about that one. Is Archer worth holding on to? I mean, he's just sitting on your bench, really. He's out, I think, only for this week. He should be back fairly soon. But yeah, you could go to Stansfield. He's a better 4.5 million option, but he's just really someone to sit on the bench, unless you're looking to upgrade that position. So maybe Archer to Tony, and in that case, do it. I think it's a great move. Mate, Coyle, I definitely would play Robertson. 110%. Hi, Dylan. Should I sell Mount to bring Diaz? Cost me a -8. For a -8, no. Mount is playing Southampton as well. I don't think it's worth an extra -4, despite how well Diaz is doing. Where I sell him after this week, I would probably wait another week to I wouldn't do it this week for a -4 or an extra -4. James to Stupinian, Martinelli to Diaz. Honestly, I wouldn't do it. I'm not trying to be a killjoy here, because the transfers in are very impressive. I like that, but I think James is better than Stupinian long term. And Martinelli compared to Diaz, I still prefer Martinelli. Just the way I see it. Is Son a good captaincy option? Normally he is, but it's very hard for me to say that when he's off form and he's got a relatively tough fixture. But never count out Son. I think the goals will come fairly soon. I would look elsewhere, though. I think there are players with a higher ceiling, including Salah. What's the best week to wildcard in your opinion? Don't want to sit on the fence, but it's honestly a team-dependent question. I think for someone, for a team like mine, for example, which might be similar to yours, it's probably around Game Week 9, but there's no kind of set-in-stone answer. It could change, certain things can happen. We can get a few injuries in a week, and then it shifts from Game Week 9 to another one. But around that time period, I'd say. Bailey or Andreas first sub? I'm going for Andreas, so that would be my preference. Should I play Gabriel or Walker? Walker has a better chance of a clean sheet. I'd go for him. Sinchenko to Saliba or Gabriel? Saliba. But Gabriel is more nailed and he has more attacking threat. However, Saliba's a bit cheaper and he's looking so impressive right now with the bonus points. So I would go for him. Any other suggestions? 5.2 is the budget. A few others to consider are a Brighton defender, for example, Estupinian, Dunk, who is my kind of favourite from the Brighton defence, Botman, Fabian Schär. So plenty of options I just listed there, but also I've narrowed it down between Brighton, Newcastle, Arsenal assets. Diaz or Gundogan? I still prefer Gundogan, to be honest. It's really close. Diaz to James. Well, Diaz to James, no, because James is injured or ill today. And I wouldn't get rid of James for Diaz this week. I think James is a great long-term hold. Welcome, Fabian. Love the stream, Dylan. You're doing a great job. What price do you reckon Anthony will be? Thank you for the kind words and the question. I think he will be 8.5 million. The thing is, though, Sancho is 7.5 and Rashford 6.5. So do they make Anthony 9 or 8.5? It's very tough to tell. But with the price tag and also what he did in UCL Fantasy last season, I think he will be around 8 to 8.5 million. And the first thing that came into my mind the other day when I talked about this was 8.5. So I'm going to stick with that. Good morning, Aranya. Here it's the afternoon, but yeah, there's so many different time zones. And yes, it's great to see. Trippier to Cucurella. I still would keep Trippier if you can. I think he'll be available in Game Week 5, and you could always bench him for this and then have him in for Game Week 6. But look, Cucurella's not a bad move at all. James rumored to be out this game week. He is out, pretty much, according to Simon Collins and a few other sources that are quite reliable. So it's not a long-term problem, but he's out for this week. What should we do with Zinchenko? I would hold him, like I talked about in my transfer tips. I think it's worth holding Zinchenko. But it's not the worst time to get rid of him because Arsenal have some tough fixtures defensively. You know, Villa could be a bit tough. You know, they might be playing for Gerrard's future. Then you have Man United, which is always a tough game for Arsenal, especially at Old Trafford. And then you have a few others like Everton. I mean, that should be a clean sheet, but football's not played on paper. I don't know. I think it's not the worst time to get rid of him, but I would hold if possible. Perisic plus Rodrigo, my team, here we go. I like the moves, but I'm concerned about Perisic in the short term because I see him playing against West Ham, then being benched against Fulham, which is the game you really want him to start in. But I could be wrong about that. It's just my opinion. The Silva to Gross for a -4. I would do it, Stephen, although it might not be completely necessary. James isn't going to play. Start Saliba or Jensen. I would start Saliba. Thank you, Fabian. Thank you very much. Neto to Gross. That's what I did this week. I would do it, but this is also not a bad time to hold on to Neto and give him one more chance, but I would do it. Who should I switch Odegaard out for? Don't have extra money. You don't necessarily need to get rid of Odegaard. I talked about skipping him a few weeks ago after his brace against Bournemouth because I think there are better Arsenal options. But with the form he's in, I would probably hold on to him a little bit more. He should have also got more assists against Fulham, and he's a great creator. He's having good all-round performances. So maybe it's a bit of an odd time to get rid of him. Maybe against United, that's when you could do it, although he did score in the same fixture last season. Anthony, 8 million max over DS. That's a good point. That is a good point. But yeah, that is true. Maybe 7.5, 8 million. I might reassess my kind of prediction there. 8.5 seems a bit too steep. So you make a good point there, Delo. James to Perisic or just hold? I could do the same thing for a -4, but honestly, I would hold. I think James is just as good, if not better, in the long term. I would keep. -4 to sell James. No, Ahmed, I wouldn't do that for me personally. Andres play today? He will play, unless something's happened that I'm not aware of, but he should be fine. Are you considering doing Cancelo to Walker anytime soon? Not really. And actually, Walker's not one of my favourite options. I think Cancelo will play the vast majority of games. He's also the most likely to get bonus points other than Haaland and De Bruyne. And he can still get those fantasy assists, those goal contributions. I know he hasn't been that impressive so far this season, but he's still got an 11-pointer in Game Week 2 with no official assists. So I would still hold some faith with Cancelo. I think he's a great option. And getting rid of him now ahead of Forest, I think is a big mistake. Just like I said with Robertson last week against Bournemouth and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But of course, I can understand that there are other things people want to do with their teams. Just a quick second, I'm going to take a bit of a water break, but I'm going to be reading your questions and going through them. Should I get Rashford for Zaha, Dylan? Honestly, I wouldn't. I don't trust United, and this is the thing with Rashford. You know, he does pretty well sometimes against these high lines when he can counter-attack, but I just don't think it's the right thing. Zaha is a much better option when he's available. Should I start Zinchenko? I would, Aranya. Especially if you're keeping him, I definitely would start him. Do you think selling Tony for Darwin next week? No. Honestly, I prefer Tony. I think he offers better value for money. Worth taking a -4 to switch Tony to Jesus? Definitely not. Jesus might outscore him by more than 4 this week, but in the long term, I don't think it's worth a -4. I think Tony is arguably a better value option. Jesus or Cancelo captain, thoughts? It's quite close, but I think Cancelo's my preference, to be fair. I think if he starts, which I think he will get the clean sheet, probably an attack and return or some bonus points. With Jesus, he's not a bad choice, definitely not, but I prefer Cancelo. Thank you, Ahmed, it means a lot, thank you very much. Trippier to Saliba, it's not a bad move, I like it. However, I'd probably just keep Trippier if you can. If you have no cover whatsoever for Game Week 5, then fair enough, I'd go ahead with it. Dylan, what do you think about Anthony and Alexander Isak? I'll be honest, you know, I haven't seen too much of Anthony, but whenever I have, you know, obviously he's a really good skiller, a great dribbler, but I don't think he's worth that price tag. And in FPL, I would just, with any United asset, to be fair, I wouldn't go for them just yet. And as for Alexander Isak, he's a good player. I think he'll improve Newcastle overall, but I don't see him getting that many goals and assists compared to someone like Callum Wilson, for example. And I just don't like him as an FPL option right now. So they're 2 to keep an eye on, keep on the watch list. I wouldn't go for them just yet, though. I think there are better choices. You know, around 7 million, you've got Tony and Mitrovic, who I think will score many more goals than Isak. And Anthony might be 8 million, around that mark we can agree on. And I think there's much better choices, to be fair. Maddison to Diaz. I mean, that's the thing. Maddison could be out yet again. I would keep Maddison. It seems like I'm saying to everyone, just keep your players. But honestly, I think Maddison and Diaz, both very similar level. I prefer Maddison, actually. So I would do that. The Silva replacement, 5.4 million budget. Well, at that price, probably Jensen still from Brentford. But really what I'd look to do is just downgrade to a 4.5 million option like Andres Pereira and then have 4 good midfielders in your team rather than having someone around 5.2 million, unless you can stretch to gross, which you can't do, of course. Ben White or Saliba? I prefer Saliba. The way he's playing, I actually think that if there was one player to drop out, if Tomiyasu comes back into the side, it would be Ben White as a like-for-like replacement. Kane or Haaland, who to keep? That's the thing. I think Kane will probably start both of the next games. At least he has a better chance than Haaland. But I would still keep Haaland long term. And it's very close, but Haaland is my preference, so I'm going to go with that. Do you think Arsenal will continue their win streak? I think they'll beat Villa, but they'll probably lose to United. That's an honest prediction. I kind of know Arsenal a bit too well. They typically do this. They go in really high. I think in the 13-14 season, United were struggling. Arsenal were top of the league, and then United won. Van Persie scored a goal, started celebrating. So, yeah, I just know this all too well. And I think United will be right up for it. Also, Arsenal are missing Thomas Partey and Mohamed El Neni, so they have no midfielder really, unless they go Xhaka to DM, or they maybe play Zinchenko as a left centre mid, or maybe as a DM himself, Lokonga. But it's just a huge downgrade, to be honest. Dylan absolutely smashing out with great advice and quick answers. Thank you very much, mate. Bailey to Gundogan and Robbo to Emerson of West Ham for a hit. Robbo to Emerson, no chance for me, mate, especially for a hit. As much as Bailey to Gundogan's a huge upgrade, I don't think it's worth it because of the second move. Yeah, I've made my transfers already. 2 free transfers, Sanchez and Gross in for Ramsdale and Pedro Neto. Would you sell James or Zinchenko? I'd actually rather sell Zinchenko. The thing is, though, Chelsea's next few fixtures aren't that great, and let's actually go through it. I didn't realise I was on the screen for that long, so apologies for that. But this is the other thing I want to show you here very quickly. The most transferred in player is Pascal Gross, which isn't really a surprise. I also brought him in myself. Diaz, Haaland, Odegaard, Rodrigo, Saliba, Perisic, Mitrovic, and Sanchez also making up most of the key spots there. Robert Sanchez with that many transfers in, and he's a goalkeeper. It's insane, and he's another one I brought in as well. But let's now go into the fixture ticker because I want to discuss, some of the upcoming games, and yeah, it's worth noting. So if you look at the next kind of 5 game weeks, Chelsea are mid-table, or 6 game weeks, should we say. Arsenal as well. They're not looking that great, and this is what I mean. So as much as I think Zinchenko is a hold in most cases, he faces Aston Villa next. Could be a clean sheet. Man United away, I don't think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet there. Everton at home, on paper, it looks like a very good chance. Probably the best fixture of the next 6 from a defensive perspective. Then Brentford away. I mean, it's possible, but I still wouldn't be that confident. Tottenham and Liverpool, definitely not. I don't see a clean sheet there for Arsenal. Then when you look at Chelsea, Southampton away, probably a good chance of a clean sheet. The same goes for the derby against Fulham. Wolves as well. But Palace, Liverpool and West Ham, especially Liverpool and Crystal Palace, they look quite tough from a defensive perspective. So I can understand why people are offloading Reece James, but honestly, I would still keep him. And with him, you really want him for the attacking contributions. And he's only missing 1 game week. If you have someone like Andreas coming in, it's completely fine. So honestly, I would keep both of them if possible, but I can understand why you are looking to offload him, to be fair. So let's go back to my team, and here we go. Wow, the chat is absolutely crazy today. So thank you very much to everyone, and I appreciate your patience. I'm trying to go for everything. Hello, Dylan. My team is a freemium with Kane, Salah, and Haaland. Do you have any suggestions? I scored 80 last game week, though. I mean, that's a really good trio to have. I'm not sure what the rest of your team is, though. And if you feel like one position, maybe your defenders, is really weak in the long term and you could struggle, then that's where you could consider the possibility of downgrading one of those free premium players. And I probably would consider Kane the most. Although on paper, Salah looks the worst of the 3, but I still think it's worth having that premium midfielder in the long term. You can always move him onto De Bruyne in the future if Salah continues to struggle. What's your thoughts on Tierney's position in the team now? The thing is, it's really hard to say because he's just come off the back of a long-term injury, and Zinchenko plays that inverted left-back role so well. And I think he is the first choice. What Arsenal could do, especially if they fail to sign a midfielder and they need to change things up a little bit, They can play Xhaka as the lone defensive midfielder. They can play Odegaard and Zinchenko as the left centre mid. And then they can play Tierney as the left back. So maybe this injury to Partey and Elneny has opened the door for Tierney. But otherwise, it could be just kind of the standard stuff. And it can be Lokonga coming in the midfield. Zinchenko stays as the left back. So Tierney isn't first choice. But now he could get some opportunities with the injuries to the defensive midfielders for Arsenal. Trippier, Andreas. Andreas this week I'd go for. Bring in Gross for the Silva or Andreas. I'd rather keep Andreas and sell the Silva. Also the extra millions you have to consider. Solanki to bag free next week. It'd be typical, right? As soon as the manager's sacked. Is it crazy to sell Jesus if it allows to keep Cancelo, Kane, Salah, Haaland? Honestly, out of the players you mentioned, Jesus is the one I'd be most inclined to sell. However, Aston Villa at home is a bit of a tricky time to get rid of him. But what I would say, though, is the United game. I don't think Jesus has ever scored against the Red Devils. So maybe if you can keep Jesus for this week and then do the move next week. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I agree with you, basically. In long story short, I agree with you, but I would try to keep Jesus for another week. Is it bad taking a hit for a free continuous weeks? Honestly, not necessarily, because it depends on the players you're bringing out and in. And if you're very happy with the moves long term, I think it's fine, to be fair. Just try not to get into the habit of doing it every single week of every single, of the whole season. That's where I would be concerned. The Silver for Gross -4. Yep, George, that looks good. Tough season, man. Hard stuck in 2 to 3 million rank. Yeah, that's where I am at the moment, really. And the problem really is that a lot of us have a similar team. Most of us have Reece James, so maybe some people will sell him to Perisic now, and that opens up, a possibility of being different. A lot of us have Martinelli, one of Rodrigo or Gross, Mohamed Salah, Kane or Haaland. A lot of our teams are very, very similar. Someone in one of my mini leagues has got pretty much the exact same team as me, so it's very hard to kind of claw that gap. So yeah, it's going to be tricky this season, I think. No, I'm not selling James, mate. I'm not selling James. I've recommended to most people today to keep him, and I'm going to kind of just say the same thing as well. KDB or Salah free hit? On a free hit, I'd go for KDB, but never underestimate Salah. Trippier or Saliba, not just for this game week, Saliba, but both really good options. Do you think Arsenal will rotate a little bit this game week? Good question. I think Arsenal will play their best team in the next 2 games, and they'll rest in the Europa League. Rodrigo and Diaz or Cucurella and Robertson? Rodrigo and Diaz is my preference right now. Spurs fans, give us your back four for this game week. Obviously, I'm not a Spurs fan, but yeah, I'd be interested to see that. I mean, they technically play a back 5, don't they? I think it'll be kind of the same as the Nottingham Forest game, but obviously you're asking Spurs fans, they'll give a much better answer than I will. I think the rotation will come against Fulham on the weekend. Is Tielemans a good option if he goes to Arsenal? As an FPL option, no. I would still prefer Odegaard and a few others, but Tielemans can get some really, some decent numbers offensively, around 8 goals. That's what he kind of averages every season. He could be much better than he was at Leicester, but I still would prefer others around the same price, like Rodrigo, Martinelli, and the others I've mentioned already. Sanchez in for Raya or Ward? For Raya, because Ward you can just bench. If you want to rotating goalkeepers, then I would keep Raya and sell Ward. But honestly, my preference is to have one goalkeeper. And I'm going to stop saying preference, I promise. Thank you, everyone, for moderating the chat as well. We're trying to go through all the questions, so try to be patient. I think Anderson's a better 4.5 million option than Estupiñán, both long and short term. That's interesting. Sorry, Anderson. Yeah. Anderson's another good one. I liked him last season. The thing is, I don't see too many clean sheets for Palace, but the fixtures do ease up a little bit now, so that's not a bad shout at all. It's a nice one. I'm captaining Rodrigo. Hope it pays off. I hope it does for you as well. I tend to be very careful with these options, to be fair, that I don't really trust that much to captain, but I hope he works out for you. Trippier out, Walker in. I honestly would prefer Trippier long term. Will Haaland play Mohamed? Yes, I believe he will. I think he'll start. Obviously, don't hold me to that. It's just my opinion. I don't know anything that you don't. It's just kind of a guesstimate, we can call it. Should we sell Zinchenko? And if yes, suggestions up to 5.5. I would keep Zinchenko, but the fixtures in the next kind of 5 or 6 aren't that great from a defensive point of view. I see maybe 2 or 3 clean sheets for Arsenal, so you could sell him. And if you decide to go that route, that's fine. I'd probably go to Perisic. Just bear in mind that Perisic will probably be benched in one of the next 2 games. You could always go for Saliba, who's a like-for-like replacement. Chat and Dylan, wish me some luck. I triple captain Sterling. Wow, good luck, Anders. I hope it works out for you. Now that takes some balls, you could say. Wow, that is impressive. Hopefully it works out. I have Xhaka as my first sub to replace James, no worries. I mean, he is playing a box-to-box role, but that's the problem now, FPL Diamond. Unfortunately, I don't want to burst your bubble. With the injuries to Partey and El Neni, I think Xhaka will play more of a defensive role now, and unfortunately, that will limit his attacking contributions and possibly boost his yellow cards and red cards, so I'd be a bit concerned about that. I have one free transfer and 0.5 million in the bank. Is it worth selling Walker and Martinelli or keep? I'd keep Martinelli. Walker you could sell, but not this week, Sudindra, so I would roll the transfer. Switch Kulusevski for Luis Diaz. Kulusevski's doing very well, but I would probably switch him. You can always go to another 8 million midfielder like Maddison or Gundogan, and the other options I keep on mentioning like Zaha. But yeah, I think you should do that, because even if Kulusevski starts here against West Ham, I can see him being benched for the game you really want him to start against Fulham, but that's just kind of a personal opinion. Can always get James back in Game Week 7 versus Fulham or hold off. That's fair enough, Marco. There's no right or wrong, really, but I think for most people, I would rather just hold him. That's just the way I see it. Thorson McAllister, I think there are better options in the Brighton midfield, such as Trossard and Gross, but McAllister's on penalties. I think Gross is second in command. It's not too shabby, I think. Andreas or Dunk to sub in for James. I'd go for Dunk. I back Brighton a little bit more in that game, although I'm predicting like a 2-1 Brighton or something like that. I think Fulham will give him a good game. Should we sell Zinchenko? And if yes, yeah, I answered that question already, Georgie. Hopefully you got it. Thanks, Dylan. I really trust Sterling tonight. I can tell. The triple captaincy is mad. I just triple captain KDB. Thoughts? I mean, if he starts Rula, he's got a great chance of getting a return. I hope it pays off for you. I'm looking to save my triple captain for a double game week potentially, or just later on in the season when we have more data, and also when I'm a bit more convinced about the kind of lineups, because some teams may rotate now and play their strong team in game week 6, which might be a bit surprising, but it can happen. Hopefully it pays off for you. Ramsdale to Sanchez, that's what I did, William, and Ramsdale is one of the best goalkeepers in the game, but Sanchez I think is even better. Welcome, Dipish. I can't tell you for sure, but I think Perisic starts, but he will be benched against Fulham. Let's wait and see if I'm right. I might be completely wrong. Rashford hat-trick incoming. I mean, I could see him scoring a goal or two, but a hat-trick would be completely surprising to me. George, I'd start Saliba. Andreas or Cher to sub in for James. I'd go for Andreas Pereira. If Paul O'Keefe says Doherty will start, should I bring him in for James? Is that what he said? No, I wouldn't do that still, because Emerson Real has had a good start to the season and even ended the last campaign very strongly. So it'd be very surprising if, Doherty suddenly, he might start in this game week, don't get me wrong, but if he's going to be the nailed on right wing back choice, I just think the minutes concern is far too big with Doherty. I'd rather go for Perisic for a bit more. How many minutes do you think Haaland will get against Forest? I think he gets 60, 70. Especially if City have a commanding lead, which I believe they will. And against Villa, that's where he can come off the bench for a half-an-hour cameo. But of course, it's all speculation. We don't know. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. Rodrigo or Gross? I still prefer Rodrigo, but it's very close between the two of them. I like both of them a lot. Alpha, yeah. Sorry, mate. I'm trying to go through all the questions. I don't think I saw your comments, so put it again in the chat and I'll go through it. But yeah, try to be patient. Obviously, I understand it's frustrating if your question isn't answered. Need to decide on Henderson and Dunk, Estupinian versus Sanchez and Williams. As a duo, Marco, Henderson and Dunk or Estupinian is better, but I still prefer Sanchez as the goalkeeper over Dean Henderson, to be fair. Have 2 free transfers. Should I do these? James to Trippier and Martinelli to Gundogan? Honestly, no. Martinelli, all the options really. The ones you're looking to get out and in, they're all great, but I wouldn't do that, to be honest. Should I play Robertson? Yes. I think I answered your question, Corey, already a few times. I would, mate. Hopefully you got that. Thank you, United. Thank you, United. I don't want to butcher your name, to be honest, but I appreciate your kind words. I disagree, but thank you. Start Jensen or Andreas? I would start Jensen. Yeah, I think so. Is Sarr okay for goalie? He's another kind of underrated option. He's a good penalty saver, and once Wolves kind of sort things out, if they do, then he's a good choice. But this is my problem with Sarr. The fixtures from Game Week 7 onwards are very poor, and you've got Sanchez with better fixtures, better form, better points. I would rather go for him. James to Saliba or Reed to Gross? Reed to Gross for sure, 110%. Should I use Kane to Haaland? I would just keep Kane, and I would have said the same thing if you were talking about Haaland to Kane. I would just keep what you have. Sell or keep Raya? I think you have 1 free transfer, don't you, Sudhindra? I would I would maybe look to sell to Sanchez. That's my preference. But Raya also has some very good games. That's the thing. You've got a good defense as well, although in the future I would maybe look to get rid of Walker. But that's just the way I see it. Just join. What's your James plan? It's to keep him. That's what I'm looking to do. And I've already made my 2 free transfers. Maybe if I didn't, I would have been a bit more inclined to sell. But honestly, I want him in the long term, so I'm going to keep. Trippier or Patterson? Wow. Funnily enough, I actually might go for Trippier, although Patterson has a better chance of a clean sheet. I mean, it's really tough. I just don't trust Patterson or Everton. Diaz to Gross and Archer to Tony for a -4. The thing is, getting rid of Diaz, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's a good set of transfers. You're improving your team overall. I would do it. Maybe next week, though, for free. Yeah, I agree, FPL Diamond. But then again, everyone's team is different. I can understand with some people. Thoughts on people selling Salah? I mean, it's very frustrating seeing one of the best FPL option of all time blanking in a 9-0 victory. But people did the same thing with Trent, Robertson after United, and they also are doing the same with Cancelo this week. I think it's a mistake, and I would keep Salah. Yes, he might not be as good as he was in the first half of the last season, and maybe his best years are behind him, as I've seen some people say, but I still think he's going to do a very good job for Liverpool and score a lot of goals. So I could see him doing very well against Newcastle. It's a mistake for me. Haaland has a knock. Here we go. Time to scramble. Where have you seen that? Try to put the link in the chat. I'd appreciate it. But be very careful with the sources you see. Yeah, James has got the flu, it looks like, yeah. I'm really disappointed with Robertson. Should I go with Fofana and upgrade somewhere else? I mean, look, Fofana could be a great option at 4.4, but I think there are better choices such as Dunk, Estupinian, Saliba, a Botman share. I would rather go for those options than Fofana because my preference for Chelsea, I keep saying that word, is Reece James and Cucurella. Because literally, just think about it, for 0.7 million more, you can get Cucurella, who will get more attacking contributions and bonus points. I would rather do that if you can. Best 5.7 midfielder, I mean, it was Gross. Now it's probably Aronson from those that you have available. Then Jensen. Is Sterling a good shout? Around his price, he's not a bad shout. I think, yeah, he's fairly good. But I talked about skipping him in my transfer tips. I would rather go to Salah or De Bruyne or go with a cheaper option like Zaha, Gundogan, etc. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question there, George. Hearing rumours that Martinelli won't play. I mean, it wouldn't completely surprise me because Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira are available, and Arsenal have 3 games in a week as well with the Europa League. But I think Arsenal will rotate in the Europa, and Martinelli will play in the league games. But let's wait and see. I'm not sure where you saw that, and as I always say, try to be very careful with the sources you have. Ramsdale to Sanchez and James to Saliba or someone else for free. I'd do Ramsdale to Sanchez, potentially Christian, although it might backfire this week. It's a good move long term. I would keep James. The ball's on you, Dylan. If you captain Haaland, well, Alvarez definitely starting. I mean, I'm not sure about that. Let's wait and see. You could be right. I am definitely tempting the Pep Roulette to strike me. Is there any Zaha news? Unfortunately, there isn't, mate. We just don't know. My gut feeling is that he will start against Brentford, but I can't tell you for sure. Thank you, Rock and Roll. I can confirm I'm buying a player to replace James. I just don't know who. Oh, yeah, Estupinian. Fair enough. I would keep James, but honestly, it's up to you, and it might be the right call for your team. Worth doubling up on Brighton. I kind of don't trust them. I wouldn't double up on their defense or their attack, but I'd have maybe 1 defensive coverage and 1 attacker. As you can see, with my team, what I've done. That's my preference. I wouldn't triple up on Brighton, so I don't trust them that much, but I think they will continue their good form. Maybe not remain unbeaten, but have a good streak and maybe win 3 of the next 6 matches or 5 matches. Is Dallo okay to come in and keep James on the bench? He's not a bad option, but I don't expect a clean sheet against Leicester, despite how poor they've been. Raya or Sanchez? Easily Sanchez for me. Start Perisic or Dunk? I would probably start Perisic, despite the fact that Dunk has a better chance of a clean sheet. With 1 free transfer, would you replace James or just play Andreas? I would just play Andreas, to be fair, Jenkinson. Should I depend on Walker this week or transfer James to Cucurella and bench Walker? No, I'd depend on Walker. I'd start him. He's just a long-term sell, so in the weeks to come you can sell him, especially if Sergio Gomez starts some games. Thoughts on James to Cucurella this week and then Walker to James next week if he's back? It's not too bad, to be fair. As long as you're happy with the rest of your team and you just have to hope that no other injuries or problems happen, then that's fine. That looks like a good plan. Dunk, Estupinian or Saliba? For me, it's Saliba. Although Dunk has the best goal threat and Estupinian has the best assist threat, I think Saliba will get more clean sheets and he will continue to start and arguably get the most bonus points of the three. They're all great options. I would go for Saliba. So yeah, that's the order. Zinchenko, Neto, Kane to Trent, Harrison, Tony. Yeah, I think that's good. I'd do it. Reluctantly. For a -4, that looks good though. Both good duos, but Trent, Harrison and Tony is much better just because, well, not much better. It's better because of the Neto factor. Yeah, Hamza, the reason why I don't have a Brighton defender is because I've got Robert Sanchez in goal, so I've already kind of covered their defense, and I've already got Gross. I don't want to go too much into the Brighton basket. I think 2 is a good kind of, maybe the sweet spot, you could argue. Sell Robbo, sell Walker or Robbo or both. This week, I'd keep both if you can, but in the long term, I think selling Robertson will give you the most money to upgrade another position. Having said that, I would still rather keep Robertson and sell Walker in a few weeks, just not now. Who's the better option, Gundogan or Bernardo? For me, it's Gundogan. Bernardo's a great player, arguably, you know, top 5 or top 10 in the Premier League, but I wouldn't. As an FPL option, I think Gundogan's better. Should I sell Son? Look. This is the problem. Whenever you sell Son, he's probably going to deliver. He's a fantastic option still, but I think it's worth going from him to De Bruyne or Salah, or maybe just downgrading that position to maybe Diaz, Maddison, Gundogan, etc. Haaland has 94% tip to start. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. Thank you very much. So let me get that for you. So there's a Twitter account that puts these predicted lineups. You know, several people will just guess what they think is going to happen with these different teams. So let's bing. I'm thinking of Bada Bing from Sopranos. Bring that on screen. So here you go. We're going to go on this page. Be sure to give them a follow. Jump the Wave, Emma. So let's go through this. Updated Man City prediction showing correct skill weighting of predictions. Here we go. So they are expecting Edison, Cancelo, Stones, Diaz, Walker to start, Rodri, KDB, Bernardo Silva. Oh, that's the thing. Bernardo Silva is 55% to start. So look at that. Haaland is at 94%. Foden, Gundogan, and KDB. Wow. Take this with a pinch of salt. They can get things wrong. Do not, give them a hard time if they get some things wrong. But I do give this, it helps with my decision making when it comes to these Man City, Chelsea options, for example. So yeah, this looks pretty good actually. So I'll retweet this as well. So those of you on Twitter as well, scrolling, will be able to see it. But yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's now look at maybe the Chelsea lineup. I mean, I don't think that many of us will be that bothered, but here we go. So this is another thing they have. Mendy, Cucurella, Koulibaly, Silva, Azpilicueta, James, Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, Sterling, Havertz and Mount. So yeah, that's probably what you'd expect, especially with no Reece James. Well, actually, sorry, Reece James won't be starting. Ignore that one, but the rest looks pretty good. What could they do here though? Maybe play Ruben Loftus-Cheek as the right wing back, and yeah, who would come into the central midfield position? I'm not sure if Kovacic is available. I have to double check that. But yeah, I think they'll put the other lineups very soon. Man City predicted lineup. Let's see. Yeah, here's the Chelsea one. Sorry. So this is the one they have. So they think it'll be Mendy, Cucurella, Koulibaly, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, Mount, Havertz and Sterling. And then, yeah, some people will be tipping a few others like Chalobah to start. So yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Let's wait and see. Arsenal predicted lineup. I mean, it's pretty much going to be the same as always. It's just Zinchenko. That is the big question mark. I think Zinchenko will start, but this could be more accurate and he will be on the bench. But yeah, be sure to check this page out and you can see it in more detail and have more time to check these. We'll check Spurs very quickly just because, Perisic, and Perisic, most people predict him to start. That's what I think as well. And the rest of it, no real surprises. And as for Liverpool, let's see, Robertson, is he predicted to start? He is, although a few are tipping Tsimikas to start instead. Should be very interesting to see. But there you go. Be sure to check that page out. And now let's go back to our team. Thank you for raising that point. I think Haaland will start as well, but it is very, very just down to luck, really. Let's see what Pep is thinking. Must add, it did enable me to upgrade Neto to Gundogan, says Harry. Bought James in for Robertson last night. Oh dear, that we are in trouble. As I feared a Robbo price drop, worst decision ever. Yeah, look, obviously, I can understand why. Short turnaround, making early transfers. I did it myself, mate, so don't worry about it. Yeah, these things can happen. That's the problem with making early transfers, but I don't think it's a bad decision on paper, to be fair. Sorry, dude, just took a -4 to switch Haaland to Jesus. Wow. I mean, I disagree, but yeah, I mean, if Haaland is benched, I think you'll be laughing, really. Cucurella and Raya or Andreas and Sanchez. As a duo, Cucurella and Raya, but honestly, Sanchez is the better goalkeeper than Raya, for sure. I'd try to get him in. Yeah, James won't play, exactly. He won't play. Hi, Dylan. Sub in Patterson or Bailey for James. I'd rather sub in Bailey, reluctantly, yeah. Who's the best Janssen replacement? 1.2 million in the bank. Oh, Janssen, sorry. I'd say Saliba, Perisic, or Cucurella, potentially, especially if you don't have James. Arsenal lineup. Okay, we could go through that again very quickly. But as I said, it's going to be kind of self-explanatory. So Arsenal lineup. They are expecting Ramsdale to be in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Tierney forming the defence. And then Xhaka, Odegaard, and most of them going for Lokonga. Ignore the Elneny one because he's out for several weeks. So, yeah, I mean, that looks fairly realistic. Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. What I'm thinking is if Zinchenko is fully available, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays as the left central midfielder and Tierney plays as the left back and Xhaka is the lone defensive midfielder with Odegaard forming the rest of the midfield. Let me know what you think of that one, but it should be very interesting. And by the way, the poll, oh my God, I must have like a record number of votes. Yeah, over 1,100. Thank you very much to everyone for voting. So yeah, as you can see, most of us are of the same opinion. We are looking to sell, 2/3 of us exactly. Very interesting stuff. So we'll end the poll now, maybe. Well, we could leave it around for a bit more. Extend the record, as they say. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you very much. Should I sell Saka? I'd possibly keep for another week and then look to sell ahead of United. Best James replacement, I would keep, but if you're looking to replace him, I would go for maybe Cucurella as a like for like or Perisic. Then you've also got Saliba. It just depends on what you're looking to do with the rest of your money, but I'd go for one of those options. Just bear in mind with Perisic, he's probably going to be benched in one of the next 2 games, and my prediction is the Game Week 6 game against Fulham. Yeah, it looks like he's got an illness. Trippier or Andreas to start? I'd rather go for Andreas this week. Who is a better asset, the Silva Andreas? I'd rather go for Andreas anyway. He's a bit cheaper, and I just think he's a better option, actually, on set pieces. The Silva got his 2 attacking returns from long-distance shots. The second one was a howler by De Gea. Bringing in Gross, but not sure who for. I'd probably bring him in for the Silva, and you can always bench Andreas Pereira, Lewis. Jesus or Salah for captain? I'd go for Salah. Yeah, my screen is on Twitter. It's just because people asked me for the Arsenal lineup, so that's why. We'll now go back to the screen, and we'll leave it at that. Oh dear, this CPU usage, Jesus. We're going to close some screens now, so here we go. Yeah, we've shown everything we need to, I think. Yeah, so yeah, we'll give the laptop a little bit of a break. You lot are probably thinking, what the hell is this guy on about? Let's go for some more questions. Is Haaland a rotation risk? Yes, but I believe he will start in Game Week 5 and be benched in Game Week 6 against Villa. But he is a rotation risk, undoubtedly. Captain Haaland, Vice Kane. That looks good to me, mate. Looks really good. Just bear in mind, Haaland could be benched. Which Arsenal defender would you bring in? Probably Saliba. My preference, oh my, I said that word a lot today. Saliba first, Zinchenko second when he's fit, and third, I'd probably put Gabriel. Cash replacement, Saliba, Veltman, or Dunk. I'd go for Saliba. Newcastle injuries impact on Liverpool assets this week. Really good point that you raised there. So Bruno Guimaraes could be missing out yet again. Callum Wilson's also out for several weeks. He's probably back in mid-September. Isaac could start actually or be involved. I think Newcastle have up until 75 minutes before the kickoff to register him because he's got problems with the permit and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Newcastle are there for the taking for Liverpool. Hi Dylan, what are you doing with James? I'm keeping him, just like as most people are doing in the poll. And that was my kind of gut feeling from before the stream even started. And as soon as I heard the news, I was still thinking that. Yeah, Sebastian, James isn't going to be featuring, but as a precaution, I think he's ill. That's what is. That's the news coming out, basically. So he should be back fairly soon. Best midfielder under 7 million. For me, it's Rodrigo, then Pascal Gross. Haaland will play tomorrow. I think he will play no matter what, so he could come off the bench or start. I think he's going to start the game. Let's wait and see. I could be wrong. Is Zaha playing? I think he will, but honestly, we just don't know yet. I'm sorted with James, fair enough, yeah. Walker to Cucurella since I already have Cancelo and Diaz. I still wouldn't get rid of Walker this week, and if you back City for a clean sheet, I would just keep Walker. You can always do the move next week, but if you've got 2 free transfers, you really want to make a move. In the long term, I think Cucurella is better, as I talked about in my last few videos. Saka to Gross and Rodrigo, captain Haaland. I think I'd keep Saka this week if you can, but in the long term, Gross and Rodrigo are better options, to be fair. And captain Haaland's fine for me. It's just a matter of if he's going to start or not. Start Walker or Xhaka, I'd start Walker. OBS runners admin helps a lot with CPU usage. Yeah, thank you for that. Also making the preview window smaller by 50%. We'll use... yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I've actually seen all these tips that you told me. The thing is, my laptop is actually quite... Well, I'm not bragging or anything. It's quite good. It's just it doesn't run natively. And that's also a reason why sometimes with the transitions and stuff between scenes, you see maybe a bit of stuttering or lag, and the internet's completely fine. So... yeah, I think the update's coming out tomorrow, so it should be sorted by then, hopefully. There's always issues, though, with technology. That's the thing. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it. Any source for early Palace news? As far as I'm aware, no. But there must be someone around there, surely. Really want Zaha. I think he can go mad if he starts. Yeah. The way I see it, I wouldn't bring in Zaha because of the injury doubt. But if you have him, I would hold. But I just wouldn't do a transfer either way. Will Neto play? I believe so. But if he starts, is he going to get returns? That's the big question. Not worried about Robertson bench today. It's possible, Raphael. It's possible, but I think he will start. And the main reason why is because Klopp doesn't really like rotating his fullbacks when one of the main centre-backs are missing out. And right now they're playing Van Dijk and Gomez. If it was their first choice, then maybe Tsimikas would be starting. Obviously, look, it's just that's one argument. There's many others against because Liverpool play in the Champions League next week. They've got another game in the weekend, sorry. So, yeah, you could be right. It's a possibility. I'm not going to deny it. Either way, I think Robertson will be making way fairly soon from my team, just as a as a way or a matter of upgrading my midfield or my forward line. Will Perisic play versus West Ham? I believe he will. I believe he will. Hi Dylan, I've transferred out Saka, me for Rodrigo Dunk. I have some extra funds. Should I take out Andres for Gross from -4? Yes, I mean, Gross in for Andres is worth the -4, but if you already have a good starting 11, there's no need. News, Tsimikas did press work for Liverpool today, hinting he may start ahead of Robertson tomorrow. Oh, God, no way. Are you serious? Let me check that out. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Yeah, I believe Perisic will play. My issue is Perisic playing against Fulham at the weekend. I don't think Perisic starts the next 2 Premier League matches, and that's why I don't really want to bring him in. But if Robertson is not going to start, which is kind of suggested by what the news that I just saw there in the live chat, then maybe that is something I'm going to have to do. Let me check Robertson. Oh, no. Oh, dear oh me. Oh, no. One second. I'm checking Twitter, but I haven't seen it just yet. Yeah, let me try see any news on Tsimikas. Maybe I'll check the Anfield Watch, kind of a good way of getting all the Liverpool news in one place. Cancelo and Edouard or Perisic and Tony? Perisic and Tony, for sure. I don't like Edouard as an option. I was, yeah, I was sucked into that last season with Edouard and it completely backfired. Yeah, I don't see anything about Tsimikas, by the way. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that is true. But there's obviously going to be a lot of rumours of Robertson being benched this week, which is possible, of course. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find the news. I can't find it. Kulusevski or Diaz? I prefer Diaz right now. James and Kulusevski to Sterling and Cucurella from -8? No, I wouldn't do it from -8. I'd just probably keep what you have and maybe start Andreas. Are we confident Haaland is starting? I'm fairly confident, but you can never be fully sure with Pep Guardiola. Do you think Robertson could get dropped from the team fully, as he has been coming on for Tsimikas early so far this season? There could be one of the next 3 games, including the Champions League, where Robertson is benched, for sure. But obviously, if there is kind of stuff like that of Tsimikas doing the press stuff, which indicates he's going to start, then it could be this week. I just don't know for sure. Should I start Walker and Cancelo? Yes, I would. Start 2 out of Robertson, Walker and Gross. That's the thing, though. Robertson has the highest ceiling of the lot, arguably. I'd go for Robertson and Gross, but Walker has probably the best chance for a clean sheet. It's a tough one, but I'd do that. Try to start Walker if you can. Raya and Dunk or Sanchez plus 4.5 million defender. Sanchez and a 4.5 million defender, and you can go to maybe Fofana when he joins Chelsea. You can go to Botman. You've got a few other options as well. Estupinian as well, although you might not want to double up on Brighton, and I would rather go for Dunk anyway. Captain and Gundogan thoughts. I've seen a lot of people talk about that in the last stream, in the reaction stream, and that's fair enough. I wouldn't go there myself, but he's not a bad choice at all. Well, Simicast did press work and did some... Yeah, I mean, look, it's possible. It is possible. It is possible. I wasn't aware of the press stuff, so thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, James is not going to play Cohen. He's ill, it looks like. Do you recommend using Estupinian and Sanchez or Dunk and Meslier Raya? Estupinian and Sanchez. I'd rather double up on the Brighton defence in that case. Is KDB for Salah mad? Then go back to Salah in Game Week 6. There's always a risk, either way, of bringing in a player. These two players can do it against anyone, basically. And if you play it by the fixtures and, try to be a bit too clever, it can pay off, but there's also a good chance that it doesn't. And I did the same thing in Game Week 1. I started the season with Kane, despite the fact that I thought Haaland would do very well from the get-go. And I also backed him to score more goals than Kane in the opening period. I went for Kane. That backfired immensely. Kane blanked when his team scored 4 goals. Haaland got a brace, 13 points. And that also set me back to start the season. So I'd be very careful with that. It's not a bad idea, but I'm not a huge fan of going from one to the other. Yeah, Kane will start in the London derby, I'm pretty sure. If there's ever maybe a chance that he's going to be benched, it's probably against Fulham. Let's see. Thank you, Ditya. Yeah, I'll try to get it up. Sometimes I think the chat does kind of block links and stuff like that. But yeah, it's typical now if Robertson's benched. Imagine Ronaldo being nominated for Ballon d'Or. I mean, look, for me, Rodri and Messi should have been nominated, but there we go. And not necessarily for Ronaldo. He did do a good job, considering how poor United were last season, to get 18 goals. But, some players do baffle me. And look, Fabinho's a really good player, but some Liverpool fans will tell you, even them, they will say that Fabinho's been very poor in the last few months. Also, Casemiro. Apart from, the start to this season when he got man of the match in the Super Cup final against Frankfurt, he wasn't that great in the overall year. Obviously, the achievements of the Champions League do bring you up, but there's a lot of players that you look at in the Ballon d'Or list and you're like, what is he doing there? Especially over Rodri, arguably the best defensive midfielder in the world, and Messi. There you go. Predicted effective ownership for Haaland and Salah. I'm not really that good at this sort of thing, but I think most people are going for Haaland. I would predict over 100% effective ownership, and Salah maybe 90%. Honestly, I'm not really that good with that. Luis Diaz or Gross? It's a tough one. Different price points. I think Diaz long term. Start Martinelli or Andreas. There are rumours Martinelli being benched. I mean, I actually wasn't aware of that before people in the chat brought that to my attention. If that's the case, I'm in the mud this week because James is out. Martinelli could be on the bench. Robertson could be benched as well. But yeah, I'm not sure where the news is coming from, but there's always going to be rumours before the deadline, and it's not really ideal. Captain Jesus, hope it pays off. I hope it does for you as well, Eric. Also, who to replace Zinchenko from the bench, Andreas or Nico? I just start Zinchenko, but if you were to do that, I would rather go for Andreas. Aren't you going to change James for a bench player? It doesn't really matter because it will do it automatically. It literally doesn't matter, honestly. The Ballon d'Or's a joke. I agree. I agree, especially this year. The Silva to Gross for free transfer, or the Silva plus Robbo for Diaz plus Dunk Veltman for a hit. The Silva to Gross for free transfer, mate. Yeah, I would do that. How do your players have away kits? It's just a Chrome extension. So if you type in FPL away kits Chrome extension, it'll be probably the first result that you see. Rodrigo not starting? I would be very surprised if he doesn't. I think he will. Best time for wildcard? No right answer, but Game Week 9 is around a good time for most people. Eze or Trippier for the bench spot number 1? Probably Eze this week. Is it smart to own Kane, Haaland and Jesus? It's not bad. Obviously, on paper, it's the best front line you can do, apart from maybe Tony. It just maybe comes at the detriment of the rest of your team. I've one free transfer and have Zaha, Trippier, Son and Reece James. Yeah, I can see maybe your frustrations and concerns. I mean, if you're looking at the injury doubts, Reece James is definitely missing out today. Zaha could. Trippier's facing a late race against time. It's a tough one. You're in a tough situation this week, but those players are good in the long term. I would keep Reece James if you can. I would maybe look to... That's the thing. Maybe sell Son, and he's going to play, most likely, so it's a bit of a weird one. Webster or Stupinian? I prefer Stupinian. Veltman starts. I think he's got a... He has to have a late test for fitness, but I think he will start. Yeah, no, James isn't going to play today. Yeah. Patterson or Bailey for James? Probably Bailey for me. If Robertson gets benched, I'll cry alone. Yeah, same here. Same here. De Silva to Dewsbury Hall. I wouldn't do that, to be honest. I have one transfer left. Good to transfer James for Cucurella and change back next week. I think that doesn't look too bad. The only problem that could arise from that is other injury problems coming about, and then you might be forced into hits next week. But on paper, it looks great. Owen Robertson 2, already did my 2 free transfers. I'm in the same boat, and that's why sometimes these things can happen. And maybe getting Sanchez in for Ramsdale, I could have waited another week for that and instead done Robertson to Saliba or Perisic or something like that. Why you stop me to sell Salah? Honestly, it's completely up to you, mate. I'm just offering my opinions. I just think Salah's going to do a good job this week, and he's still a great option. You know, one blank doesn't mean he's suddenly a bad option. You know, people always jump the gun with these, amazing options. You know, people did it with Robertson and Trent last week. They're doing it with Cancelo. Just a bit of patience is sometimes the way to go. Aren't you going to change James for Andreas? Honestly, it doesn't really matter because he will come on anyway. It doesn't really matter. I could just do it, but honestly, it makes no difference. Start Saliba or Jensen? Saliba. Thoughts on James to Dunk, De Silva to Gross? If you need to do James to Dunk to afford Gross, then I would do it. Otherwise, I would try to keep James. I have one transfer left. Good to transfer James for Cucurella and change. Yeah, done. Like I said, it is good. Bernardo Silva, Gundogan for me. I know this is the week Robertson gets benched. Yeah, I mean, based on what we've seen today, probably. I'm going to check Twitter now, so I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm trying to go for all the questions, but I'm also checking Twitter as well and seeing if we can get any bit of news which could help us for the deadline. Firmino or Tony? Tony all day long for me. Will Veltman play? I believe so. Zaha or Gundogan? I think Zaha, just for the minutes, but bear in mind, Zaha is an injury doubt. Is it worth getting Haaland for Kane? The thing is, for this week it could be, but Haaland's going to be benched in one of the next 2 games. Very, very likely. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. So I would just keep Kane and do something else. Mahrez or Foden? I prefer Foden right now. Mahrez isn't really an option for me. He could be really good this week, but in the long term, I don't think Mahrez is it. Who should I start? Cucurella, Saliba, or Saint-Maximin? I would start Cucurella. Ramsdale, Trent, James, Cucurella, Cancelo, Salah, Diaz, Martinelli, Neto, Jesus, Kane, bench, Ward, Andreas, Nico, Archer, 2 free transfers. What do you suggest? What you could do is something similar to me and do Ramsdale to Sanchez and Neto to Pascal, Gross, or Rodrigo. I don't think you can afford Rodrigo. So, yeah, that looks pretty good for you. Another alternative is to perhaps maybe do Archer to Stansfield, or what you could also do, actually, looking at your team here, is go maybe downgrade James completely and upgrade Archer to Tony. But honestly, on paper for me, Ramsdale and Neto could be your transfers, if you want to use both of them, that is. Trippier or Eze, like I said already, mate, I would go for Eze first spot. Best goalkeeper to get right now, for me, Sanchez still. Haaland or Salah captain is too tough to call. It is, but I think Haaland will start, and because of that, I back him to do really well, and I'm going to go for him, but it's really tough, I agree. Starting Isaac over Andreas, any thoughts? That's fine. That's fine. It's just... I'm not going to say it's unlikely, but let's wait and see if he's actually going to be available because of the work permits and all of that. Any major news I'm seeing is James is confirmed out. Yeah, and Perisic is 99% likely to start. It is. And I could do that move, for example. Another thing I could do, actually, because Robertson is rumoured to be out, is do Robertson to Perisic, but it would be for -4. So, yeah, I'm not really feeling these transfers at the moment. And the news that's coming out today is honestly killing my team. It was looking really good heading into today's deadline, but it's looking awful now. Firmino's a big no. I agree. Any news on Trippier? I think Eddie Howe said he should be fine, basically. So, yeah, I still think it's a worthwhile hold in the long term, despite Newcastle not being that great defensively in terms of the underlying numbers. Haaland por game para la semana 5. la verdad, no importa si tenés Kane o Haaland. Para mí es mejor tener o quedar con lo que tenés. No creo que vale un movido de uno o del otro. No sé, es muy difícil porque Haaland para mí va a estar en el banco en contra Aston Villa y va a jugar en contra Nottingham Forest, pero puede ser también el contrario. Es muy difícil, pero no haría ese cambio. Cucurella or Saliba for James, I would do... If you were to do it, I think Cucurella is probably my preference. It's really tough, though. I feel like Perisic should be a midfielder that costs 7.5. Yes, true. And I do want Perisic. Dylan.exe stuck in the Matrix. Oh, don't tell me I'm lagging or anything. Maybe it's just the way my brain was lagging. Mamma mia. But yeah, I'm going to end this poll, by the way. I think I would love to keep James, by the way. But yeah. Espanol flex. It's not a flex, mate. It's someone asked me a question in Spanish, and I'm assuming he wants an answer in Spanish. Come on. No flexing here, mate. No flexing here. Sinchenko to dunk, Perisic, Veltman. I'm leaning to dunk for guaranteed starts. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Perisic is my favourite of the three, but in the short term especially, I think he will burn you because I think he will be benched in Game Week 6 against Fulham. But he is still my choice if you were to ask me. We need subtitles. Yeah, basically, so he asked Kane or should I transfer out Haaland for Kane? And I said, no matter if you have Haaland or Kane, I wouldn't transfer one out for the other. That's pretty much all I said. Just in a long-winded way, as I tend to do in Spanish. Should I have James in the starting 11 or leave him on the bench? I'd still just have him in the starting 11. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't make a difference. He's not going to play today. I just have him in the starting 11. I don't know why. It just doesn't really matter. Can I say my team in the chat, please? Sure, of course you can, Adil. I'll try to go through it. Is it worth bringing in Tony for a -4, since without him I wouldn't have 11 players? Yeah. The thing is, I don't think Tony makes up the -4 this week, but he will in the long term, so it's a good move. Robertson, Rashford and Neto for Dunk, Gundogan and Rodrigo. Yeah, I'd do it. Honestly, normally I'd say be careful Robertson, but there is a good chance he's going to be benched this week or in the weekend. So, Guedes, anyone? I mean, it's really hard for me to recommend Guedes when Wolves barely score a goal in a game and they have some tough fixtures from Game Week 7. Yeah, I know, Asif. I know. I'm just playing along. How about Tony and Odegaard? I had it in my team. I mean, Tony for me is one of the best strikers and Odegaard's in form, so I wouldn't sell him right now. Have you ever played the draft? No, I've never played that. Captain Kane, Cancelo or Gundogan? I would actually go for Cancelo. But for me, I'd probably captain Salah and vice-captain Cancelo, Melvin, but honestly, they're all good options. Gracias, Esteban. Muchas gracias. Afición, esto para vosotros. Sí. Okay, I thought I did that. I will sell Ramsdale. Who do I get? Edison or Sanchez? Sanchez. It also gives you a bit more money for other positions. I would do that. Whoa. Why am I saying your mum? Whoa. Let's chill. Come on, let's keep it respectful. Who are Spurs playing? They are playing West Ham. They're playing West Ham and they play Fulham at the weekend. Azpilicueta or Andreas for the Silva? Oh, no, I'll go for Azpilicueta this week, yeah. Gundogan captain? No, look, I think Gundogan's a good captaincy option, but I probably wouldn't go that far to captain him, to be fair, yeah. Yo, bro, I saw Salah for KDB. Did I F up? They're both great options. But I would say no because you're getting Kevin De Bruyne. However, Salah can burn you. I'm not going to deny that. Start Andreas or De Silva. I mean, I'm going for De Silva, gut feeling, but honestly, maybe that's not the way to go. Estoy bien, mate. Estoy bien. ¿Y tú? In Argentina or in Uruguay, they say y vos, but in Spain they say y tú. Just the kind of a key difference there. Think you missed the chat with the team I sent. I didn't see it, I can't lie. Oh, okay. Ramsdale, Trent, James, Cucurella, Cancelo, Salah, Diaz, Martinelli, Neto, Jesus, Kane. It looks great, apart from Neto. What do you suggest? Actually, you did ask it earlier, and I did respond. And my suggestion was to do Ramsdale to Sanchez and Neto to Gross. Or, that was a kind of a suggestion of 2 transfers. So yeah, that would be my suggestion to you, Adil. Robertson to Dunk, Neto to Gross, De Silva to Rodrigo for a -4. Yeah, I'd do it, SD. Captain Gain? Yeah, I wish I got a gain in Game Week 1. Captain Kane in Game Week 1, the reason I'm still mad, yeah, I made a mistake there as well. But on paper, it looked great, Kane facing Southampton, Haaland facing West Ham. Thank you, Jay, for the shout-out. Thank you very much. Let's see where we are right now. I mean, today we had an insane amount of viewers at one point, but yeah, 144 likes. Let's try to get this to 200. Let's keep smashing the like button and subscribing if you're new. It really helps out the channel, and it goes a long way in helping in the algorithm, so it would be much appreciated. And okay, so one's enough. We still got 180 people watching, so let's keep on doing that, and let's go through some more questions. I'm captaining Raheem Sterling. Is it good? He's not a bad option. He's probably one of the best in terms of the outsiders from Kane, Son, Haaland, Salah, etc. 69 points, nice. I would rather get more, to be honest, but I see what you mean. Bailey will start. I'm not sure. I think so, but it's literally just a 51-49 guess. Jimenez starting, yep. I don't think Jimenez is a good move. I don't like Wolves offensively. He might be, he might do really well against Bournemouth, but not in the long run. -4 to get Gross in or let Andreas start against Brighton. I mean, either's fine, to be fair, but I would go for the -4 for Gross, but it's not necessary. Robert to Perisic on a free transfer. I probably would sing. Just bear in mind, Perisic will be benched in one of the next 2 or 3 games for sure. Best 4.5 million defender. For me, it's Lewis Dunk or Botman. But Stupinian, Veltman, and a few others are pretty good as well. Or you said 4.6. Yeah, the point remains. Rodrigo or Bernardo Silva, definitely Rodrigo for me. Jimenez or Aronson to start. Jimenez this week because of the fixture. But then again, Aronson, you wouldn't want to bench. Will Salah score against Newcastle? I mean, I wish I could, I wish I could see it, and I've got like these premonitions and stuff. I think he will, but I could be wrong. James to dunk Stupinian or to Perisic, or roll and play Andreas instead. I mean, you would be fine with every single option. I would roll the transfer and keep Reece James. The only issue is if you also have Robertson as well. Is having no Arsenal goalkeeper or defender a risk? You can't cover every defence, though. And look, what you could do is... I mean, this is the thing, though. Neto is maybe your weak link. If you want to give him another chance, then fair enough. What you could do is do Archer, I think it was, to Stansfield, but it's literally a luxury transfer. And I like the rest of your team. I wouldn't change it. So that is what I'd look at long term and think you would be benefiting your team. Ramsdale to Sanchez and Nico Williams to Saliba. Looks great to me. I would do it, Rasmus. James to Cucurella now and bring back James late instead of White, for example. Good call. Looks really good to me. I'm not a big fan of Chelsea double up long term defensively, but it does look good, to be fair. I mean, the transfers themselves look good. And I think by the time you get rid of White, he'll be facing United, and I don't see too many clean sheets for Arsenal anyway. Gross or Tony? Is that Ivan Tony? Tony. Well, actually, he is facing Crystal Palace this week, so I can understand your conundrum, actually. Gross. Keep Gross or sell for Martinelli? Keep Gross. I wouldn't sell for Martinelli, who actually has some rumours of being benched, which obviously have come out of the blue, you could say. I like that question, Gross or Tony, yeah. I'd probably go for Gross this week. Long term, Tony's my preference. I have Robbo, Saka, and James. Thinking of James and Saka out. And do you think it's right to keep Robertson instead of those two? Despite James definitely missing out this week, I would rather get rid of Robertson than James, especially if you already have Trent Ori. Best defender under 6 million, Dunk. Have Perisic and 3 Arsenal spots. Or Cucurella. So Cucurella or Dunk would be my favourites, as well as Trippier or a Newcastle defender. Son or Fernandes, still Son for me. Although Bruno is arguably a better option now than he was last season because of no Ronaldo. Welcome, Jeff. Do you think Haaland will start? I believe he will. No, I don't think there's any more Twitter news, unfortunately. Not that I'm aware of. Play Neto or upgrade? I would... I mean, look, it's tough. I would sell him. That's what I did. But he is... he's got a good fixture. Harrison for Willock? Yes, that's a good move. Gross or Rodrigo? Rodrigo, but it's really close. Hi, should I get a -4 for James and should bench him and sub in Justin versus Man United? I'll just bench him. The FPL app got something wrong with the injury for James. They say it's a knock, not illness. The thing is, though, we just don't know for sure yet. I know some sources have said that it's an illness. Either way, it's a precaution. It's not long term. He should be fine soon. Neto or Gross for the next 3 or 5? Gross, definitely. Dylan, can you help me with my team, please? Sure thing, mate. Just put your team out and I'll try my best. Should I give him out one more week or -4? I'll give him one more week and then sell. Any team news apart from Perisic and James? Not necessarily, to be honest. Is Stupinian nailed on to play? I don't think he's going to play every single game. And, Brian also have the option of playing Trossard as left wing back, but I think Estupinian will be the first choice, of course. Do you feel Parker sacking was harsh? Definitely. I think it's the manner in which they lost. You know, they conceded 2 goals in 10 minutes against Arsenal. They conceded 9 to Liverpool. But that team is, I mean, it's awful. You know, let's not sugarcoat it. On paper, their team is probably championship level. And you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, and City in the first, 3 of the first 4 games. And what do you expect them to do? It's very harsh for me. I think it's also maybe due to the fact that he kind of called out the board, saying they need to make signings and the squad isn't good enough. They need more players. And also he, kind of had a dig at the players themselves. My transfer this week, James to Dunk, 4.4 million to Gross. That looks good. I like the fact, I like the idea of keeping James, but it's a good move overall. Substitute James for Van Dijk, fair enough, but I honestly prefer James. I've made 2 transfers. Maybe now I'm kind of regretting it. Doing Ramsdale to Sanchez and Gross in for Neto. Thank you for the kind words, Jasabi. Real inspiration. I disagree, but thank you very much, mate. Hi, Dylan. James to Fofana and Neto to Rodrigo sound good. I know Fofana covers the same team, but I wouldn't do James to Fofana. Neto to Rodrigo sounds great, but not at the expense of James. Tony and 4-3-3 formation or Maddison? Both really good, but I prefer Tony in a 4-3-3. Play Andreas or Share instead of James. Andreas. So yeah, hopefully you got that. Yeah, Gundogan captain's a good option. Yeah, Rock and Roll, don't worry about the people mentioning captain, so you don't need to ban them, mate. Do you recommend Haaland or Salah as captain? I would recommend Haaland myself, just because I think he's going to start. They're both great options. Do not underestimate Mohamed Salah, and I think they'll both be great this week. So there's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of if Haaland's going to be benched or not. Yeah, Wei Sing. I don't think, he's a great manager, but it's very harsh. Lodi signing rating. I mean, Lodi's not a bad player. I mean, I think he's a decent left back. He's not the greatest defensively, I'd say. He got caught out in the Copa America final against Argentina. Sometimes for Atletico, he's a bit suspect, but it's a very surprising move overall. It's a good signing for Nottingham Forest. Rodrigo or Gross? I prefer Rodrigo. It's really close, though. James to Saliba for a -4? No, I wouldn't do that. Bailey for Gross -4? Yeah, Esteban, Banamisi. Do we captain Haaland? Up to you, mate. It's, I don't want to take responsibility for your decisions. I'm going for it myself because I think he's going to start, and I could be wrong. Start De Silva or Andreas. Yeah, once again, De Silva, but it's really close. What transfers would you have done if you had current knowledge? If I had the current knowledge, I think I would have still done Neto to Gross, but I may have held off Sanchez for another week and maybe bring in Perisic or Lewis Dunk or Robertson, something like that. I still think I would have kept Reece James. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Maybe I would have done the same thing, to be fair. But it would be nice to have a free transfer. Let's put it that way. No problem, LFC. Thank you very much. In terms of bots, the weird ones that always pop about, no. But yeah, we've had spammers, but not bots. Haaland captain, I still think it's a great option, but it's risky. You've got to just back your decision. Do you think he's going to start? If so, he's a great choice, and go for it. Are you going to target Nunez, Jota, or any other players missing? I mean, the ones that I'll be keeping an eye on, monitoring, but not necessarily, because I've already got Salah. I prefer Diaz right now over Jota, who I don't think is going to get that many starts at the moment. Then you've got Nunez. I would rather have Jesus, especially Tony, Mitrovic, Kane or Haaland. So it's a no for me. I'm captaining Haaland. I'll go my instinct. That's the way to go. Hopefully it pays off. Is Bamford back in the lineup? I'm not sure if he's back in the lineup, but I think he's back in the squad. He should be available. Dunk or Dallo? Dunk for sure. Eze to Gross from -4? I probably would do it actually, yeah. Hi mate, Rodrigo or Bernardo? Rodrigo. Jesus captain, not a bad shout, but I prefer Cancelo, Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, Salah, etc. But it's completely up to you. Greenwood for Tony to get funds for Rodrigo to Luis Diaz. Looks pretty good to me. Rodrigo to Luis Diaz. Oh, no. I wouldn't do Tony to Greenwood, actually. I prefer having Tony, to be fair, yeah. Tony and Rodrigo is a better duo than Diaz and Greenwood, if that's what you're saying. Saka to Martinelli. I mean, I prefer Martinelli long-term, but there are rumours that he's benched. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but just bear that in mind. I would keep Saka for another week and then maybe do it next week. Do you think you'll make any transfer from now? Maybe not. If there was one, it would probably be for the defender. So I would possibly get someone like Perisic, despite my concerns about him starting 2 games in the next few days. And then, yeah, he will be coming in for either James or Robertson. Most likely it will be Robertson. So if I see something that completely confirms Robertson out, then I might take a -4 and just go for Perisic. And even if he doesn't get points, I jinx him, and I'm happy with that. Chances of a Liverpool clean sheet. I think with the injuries that that Newcastle have, I think the chances are boosted. I could see Liverpool conceding 1 maximum. And if I were to hazard a guess, let me pull out my predictions, actually. I've got it in my notes. So bear with me for a second. Liverpool. So yeah, my prediction for Liverpool-Newcastle was 3-1, actually, for Liverpool. Yeah, I think I'd stick with that. Maybe a 2-0. I think, yeah, 2-0 is quite likely as well. So there's a good chance of a clean sheet. Much better, especially with all these injuries. Wildcard recommendations. Check out my wildcard team video. You could obviously change James or, a few others like that. But James would be the main kind of change from that team. So check that video out. Start Saliba or Neto. I'd start Saliba still, but Neto arguably has the highest ceiling. When will the template break? Hopefully soon, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck in this rank. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, I think people are slowly going away from Fab at the back, but they still have a very similar midfield and attack. My captain's on screen, mate. It's oh, sorry, it's not. Okay, correction. I'll correct myself. My captain is here, Haaland, and Salah is my vice. Yeah, Reece James is injured/ill. He should be back fairly soon. Best captain, they're all great, but I would rather go for Haaland. It's between Haaland and Salah for me. They're all good choices, though. What do you think of Salah if he blanks again in the game? It's very unlikely that he's going to blank against Newcastle and Everton. Maybe Newcastle, but I don't know. I see him getting a return very soon, and I'm still keeping the faith. Obviously, things can change very quickly. If De Bruyne is, popping about with some huge returns, then I'll be tempted to make the switch. But right now, I'm happy to keep. Hello, Dylan and chat. Sorry I'm a bit late. No problem, mate. I'm Galactic, by the way. Oh, so you changed your name to LFCRY. Okay, fair enough. It's good to see you here once again. Why no Arsenal defender? I had Ramsdale, but I got rid of him because of the lack of saves and bonus points, and I wanted to make the move in midfield. My midfield was the main concern, and I got Gross in, and I was happy with my defence up until the news about James and potentially Robertson. And I don't expect too many clean sheets for Arsenal in the next 3 or 4, which I could be wrong about, but United, for example, that should be a tricky test. Martinelli to Gross, I just keep what you have. If you don't think Martinelli is going to start, then fair enough, but otherwise I'd keep. Kane to Tony to free up 4.4 million. If you're not going to make the move this week, just keep Kane. I think Tony has a tough test against Crystal Palace. The game could end in a 2-2 draw. It could, but I think Liverpool will win. Good to see you, Jeff. I did Maddison to Gross and took a -4. I don't know if it's worth it. On paper, it doesn't seem worth it to me, but if Maddison misses out, then it doesn't seem too bad, to be fair. Start Trippier or Patterson? I'd start Patterson just about. I mean, this is the tough thing. I think I was asked this earlier, and I might have said Trippier. I don't expect any of them to keep a clean sheet. I think Patterson will probably concede fewer goals, but Trippier has the attacking threat, so it's really hard to balance out. I think I'd probably go for Patterson then, just for the clean sheet chances. Tony or Gross this game week? It'd be Gross. Good luck to you as well, Wei Seng. Yep, hopefully. I mean, it's about time. Veltman is not playing today. I don't know. I think he will, but it's all subject to a late fitness test. Saliba, Gross, Tony. Choose one. This week it'd be Gross. I went Trossard instead of Gross. Thoughts? That's fine. I think in the long term he will be better, but Gross is really, really impressive so far this season. He's the best Brighton asset, but yeah, I think Trossard's a good option too. Thoughts on Leeds defenders? It's a no-go for me. Leeds are looking good in the midfield and potentially the forward line, but not in the defence. Do you think they've got the pricing wrong? Oh, definitely. I mean, Perisic 5.5, Trent 7.5 million, Robertson 7, Cancelo 7, James 6. They got it completely wrong. Are you going to get rid of James? Probably not. The only reason why the idea of making a defender transfer has crossed my mind is because Robertson could be benched based on what we've seen in the last day or so. Apparently Simicast was doing kind of media duties, and that implies that he's going to start. I mean, I can't speak for other FPL YouTubers or whatever. Salah is one of the best FPL options of all time, if not the best, and I don't really disagree with captaining him. Newcastle isn't an easy game, but they also have a lot of injuries, and Salah will probably be looking to bounce back after probably a very disappointing week for him as well, personally, not scoring or assisting in a 9-0 victory. And also, there's the doubts about Haaland starting, so I think it's not a bad idea to captain Salah. When will be the next 9-0 score again? Just check when Southampton play. I would say City, but they actually tend to give them a good game. Watch me reverse jinx that now. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm not sure when we'll get a next 9-0. Maybe next season. Who knows? But this season's so bizarre. I'm stuck between Neto and Gross because I know as soon as I take out Neto, he's going to return. Yeah, I can see why, but Gross is still the better long-term pick. Dunk or Dyer? Dunk. Robbo plus De Silva to Perisic and Gross -4. James bench. Yeah, I would do it. Just bear in mind, Perisic will probably be benched in Game Week 5 or 6. Probably Game Week 6 in my opinion. Hi, should I start De Silva or replace James to Gabriel? I just started De Silva. Does Haaland take penalties? Good question. I think he will, but you've also got a few others like De Bruyne, Mars when he's on the pitch. Sorry. Yeah, I think he will take penalties, but we don't know yet. Robertson to Perisic is so tempting for the midfield upgrade. Yes, it is, but then again, he's not the best. Now's not the best time to bring in Perisic. That's the way I see it. Brighton high ceiling. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm not sure if it's a high ceiling. I could see a 2-1, maybe a 3-2. I think both teams will score goals. Dylan, start Dunk or Andreas? I'd start Dunk. Tony or Saliba this week? I'd go for Saliba this week. Is Cancelo a good option? Yes, he is. He's the best defender to captain, but I still prefer others. So Haaland will play tonight. Don't hold me to it. It's just my opinion. I think he will. Let's wait and see. Penalty to Salah this game week? Yeah. I mean, if that's the only way he can score, then so be it. Thoughts on Isaac and Tony? And Anthony. I was asked about them earlier, and with Isaac, he wasn't that great with goal contributions last season and the season before with 4 goals and 6 goals. And also, I just don't really see him being a great FPL option. Obviously, he can prove me wrong, and he could be really good. I think he'll be a good signing overall in terms of helping those around him be better. As for Anthony, he's a good dribbler, obviously really good in terms of skills, but I don't really think he's worth anywhere near 100 million or 85 million pounds. And in FPL, I'd still stay clear from the United assets. Is buying Anthony for United worth it? No, not right now. I'd wait and see how he does. He might even be on the bench against Arsenal in Game Week 6, so I would just wait and see first. And honestly, I don't really think he's going to be as good as those around him in terms of price, like Maddison, Diaz, Gundogan, Zaha. I could be wrong, but I'd be very skeptical right now. So yeah, thank you for those shouting out the page. So we've got 173 people watching and 172 likes, so be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. We're very close to 13,000 subscribers, so keep on smashing that, and we are very close to achieving those goals as well. But yeah, good to see so many of you here in the chat as always. Haaland start against Nottingham? I believe so. Why haven't you captained Salah, and why do you pick Haaland even though there's no doubt of him missing this game week? It's all down to opinions, mate, and I think Haaland's going to start in Game Week 5 and be benched in Game Week 6. I have no problem with captaining Salah. I just think Haaland will start and he will do even better. It's a risk. I'm taking the risk right now. 4 good mids or 3 good forwards. It just depends on who those midfielders and forwards are. On the surface, I'd say 3 forwards, just because I'm guessing it'll be Tony, Jesus, and one of the Kane or Haaland premiums. Will Haaland play more than 60 minutes? I believe so. Do you think the Premier League this season will have the obvious relegation team? It's so early to tell. Honestly, I don't know. I think Bournemouth is obviously an early candidate for relegation. Other than that, I think it's quite open. Is Stupiniano Dunk? I'd go for Dunk. Rodrigo captain, not for me. How about captain Trent and vice captain Haaland? Not a bad idea, but I would rather captain Haaland or Salah or maybe even Cancelo over Trent. Do you know where Neto's main position is this season, and is he looking like getting goals and assists? Left wing, I mean, that's where he tends to play, but he can also play on the right. And the thing with Neto, I mean, not just him, just the Wolves attack, it looks very lackluster. They struggled to score goals. They dominated against Spurs in the first half, and they didn't actually take advantage of the opportunities they created. Should I start Gross or Martinelli? Gross this week, I think. Very close. Or Luis Diaz or something. I mean, I wouldn't bench any of them, to be fair. I have 2 transfers. We'll only use 1. James to Dunk and Roa transfer. We'll keep Neto 1 more game week. That's fair enough. Best 8 million midfielder, Maddison, then Diaz for me. But Maddison is an injury doubt. Sterling for Jesus? No, I wouldn't do that. What to do with Zinchenko? I'm not sure what your team situation is, Ahmed, but I would keep Zinchenko. I think he will start, especially with the injuries in the defensive midfield position for Arsenal. However, it's not a bad time to sell Zinchenko. I will admit that. But I would probably keep him. Thank you, Pritish. Thank you very much. Best Ramsdale replacement? I still would say Sanchez, but If you don't want him, I mean, you could just keep Ramsdale. Honestly, I would probably keep Ramsdale. And if you really wanted someone else, then I would probably say Dean Henderson. I still think, despite Nottingham Forest not having a great defence, I think he'll still get points. And he offers good value. Andreas or De Silva. Long-term Andreas for this week, maybe De Silva. Ruben Dias or Perisic. This week I'd start Dias 100%, but Perisic is the better option long-term. All the best to you as well, FPL Diamond. We've got 6 minutes left for the deadline. Henderson or Sanchez? I'd still go for Sanchez. Jesus or Cancelo captain? Cancelo. Is Cancelo a good captaincy option as a differential? Yes, Mickey. Harrison or Gross? I would go for Gross. Very close though. Webster or Estupinian? Estupinian. Who should I transfer cash for? Estupinian, Dunk or Saliba? I'd go for Saliba. If not, you can always go for Dunk. They're all good options. Have you seen KDB's tweet about the news article? Yeah, I saw that. I saw it. It came up on my feed, I think, yesterday or whenever it came out, maybe today. Nottingham Forest leaves a lot of crosses from the left. Cancelo captain could be a really nice shout. Yeah, he's in my top 5 captaincy options this week, I'd say. He's the best defender for sure, on paper. Start Trippier or Patterson? I would go for Patterson. Completely up to you. The away kits is a Chrome extension, so type in FPL away kit Chrome extension and you'll find it. Yeah, Mickey, sorry, mate. I've answered your question several times, and I think he's a good captain. Say Maximan versus Diaz as a dribbler. That's a bit of a tough one. Wow, I think this is very similar level. They might even be identical. I'd maybe say Maximan, but Diaz is the better overall player for sure. Already I've Dunk, James to Estupinian or Cucurella. If you were to get rid of James and you're set on it, I'd go for Cucurella. Captain Salah, but this could be the week Cancelo goes off. Yeah, definitely. Good luck this game. We still hope Haaland's benched, though. Good luck to you as well. Yeah, I mean, if he is benched, I'm in the mud, for sure. Estupinian, Dunk or Saliba? Saliba, mate, like I said before. I think I'm pretty set on my team. I have my 2 free transfers to do. Meslier to Sanchez and Zinchenko to Malacia. Sorry, tasty differential and Salah captain. Thoughts? To be honest, apart from Malacia, I do like the rest of it. I don't see a clean sheet for Man United in the next few game weeks, but they have been better recently. And Malacia has been fairly impressive. Sterling or Jesus? Jesus. Cancelo, Perisic, Archer, or Diaz, Botman, Tony. As a trio overall, Diaz, Botman, Tony is better, but I really like Cancelo and Archer, Pedri. So if you're not starting Archer, it would be Cancelo, Perisic, and Archer. Ramsdale or Meslier? Ramsdale, Rayo, Sanchez. Like I said already, Golden Boys, I go for Sanchez. Try not to repeat the question, please. Trossard or Gross? I prefer Gross right now, but it's really close. Thanks for your answer, Dylan. Thank you, John Martin. Start Perisic or Walker? I'd start Walker for the clean sheet probability. Thoughts on Griezmann? Rumours to Arsenal? I don't think he has any substance. Arsenal will be looking for a defensive midfielder or a midfielder in general, as well as a winger. Griezmann, it just won't happen, I think. Hey, Dylan, how comes you're starting James? Yeah, I mean, I've been asked this a few times. He's just there. He's obviously going to come off for Andreas Pereira. That's fine. But I'm also, just in case I make a late transfer like Perisic in for James or Trent or Robertson, for example, it's kind of already ready rather than subbing him out and then having to sub him in again. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. I'm just checking Twitter one last time and seeing anything. Really close between Gross and Rodrigo. I'd go for Rodrigo if you can, though. It's barely anything in it. Saliba or Cucurella? It depends, because if you want James in the long term, I would rather have, in that case, James and Saliba and not double up on Chelsea defence. So it just depends on what you're looking to do. Yeah, I mean, Dallow's more attacking, but I don't like him as a FPL option still. Zinchenko to Estupinian. I'd probably keep Zinchenko, but he's not a bad option. Estupinian, the same goes for Dunk, who's my favourite of the Brighton defence. Yeah, we're pretty much locking in 3 minutes now. I'm checking Twitter. I still see nothing. But yeah, I think we're going to be locking in fairly soon. The only thing I could possibly change, and I'm just letting you know now, is Perisic in for Robertson or James. But I think I'm going to keep things as they are. And Bob's your uncle. Yeah. Gabriel instead of James? No, not for me, mate. Try not to spam the chat. Worth the risk for vibes or safe with Dunk? I'd just go for Dunk. Yeah, Mitsuma Kan has played wing back in the cup. Nah, but that's far too risky. I'd go for Dunk. Maddison to Gross. I'd just keep Maddison. Tony or Andreas? Tony. Cucurella or Saliba? This week, Cucurella, long-term It's a tough one, but if you already have James or you want to have James in the future, it'd be Saliba. Perisic or Saliba in for James? Saliba, just because I think Perisic might be benched in one of the next two, especially in Game Week 6. Sarr or Sanchez for a -4? Just play Sarr for this week and then get Sanchez next week or in the weeks to come. Don't make any rash decisions. Yes. Isn't Odegaard playing KDB role in Arsenal? Why is he not an FPL option? I mean, maybe he's a better FPL option than I gave him credit for, but I still think there's better options in Arsenal, and it's as simple as that. I still maintain that belief. I mean, the last return he got, despite being man of the match, it was a deflected goal. Gundogan or Cancelo captain? Cancelo for me. Jesus captain, not a bad shout, but I prefer a few others, such as the City boys, whether it's Cancelo, De Bruyne, or Haaland, Salah, etc. Have you got Haaland captain still? Yes, I do. No changes, really. So we've now got like half a minute left for the deadline. Start Walker or Kulusevski? I start Walker. Jesus or Haaland or Salah captain? All great options. I would go for either Haaland or Salah. If you back Haaland to start like I do, which I could be wrong about, I'm going for Haaland. Bench Perisic, Andreas for Perisic? No, just start Perisic. I wouldn't bench him. Don't think it makes any sense. So I'm going to lock in. I might do very poorly this week, despite it looking like an incredible team. Reece James is going to be subbed out for Andreas Pereira. And Robertson could be missing out entirely. He could be coming off the bench for a 1-pointer or just getting 0 points. And then Bailey comes on. So it's not looking that great. Haaland captaincy could be the big turning point. If he starts and does really well, I could be having an exceptional week and get a green arrow. It's a shame because my team looks good on paper, but suddenly there's a lot of kind of big problems, especially in the back line. There's rumours about Martinelli being benched. I'm not sure how reliable it is, but there you go. So I'm just hoping for the best. Sometimes these things are outside your control. We are locked in. Veltman in. Good option, but I prefer Dunk. When is Tomiyasu coming back? He's already available. He's been coming on towards the end of the games, kind of shoring things up at the back. But in terms of the starting 11, there's no need for Arsenal to change things right now. Yeah, but there could be a time where he comes in for Ben White in the right back position, and then it's between White and Saliba to start alongside Gabriel. Yeah, yeah, the FPL Away Kit is a Chrome extension, so type in FPL Away Kit Chrome extension, you'll find it. Let's hope Perisic and Pascal don't make me regret. I hope Perisic is... I hope that Spurs do terribly in general and Perisic blanks, but I don't see it. Pascal, let's see. Good luck to you as well, Sandy. Raphael as well, Antonio, Jay, everyone else here, Genius Gamer. Good luck, Anders. Hopefully this game goes well. Good luck. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Mickey. Good luck to you as well. Good luck, Dylan. Captain Jesus and Vice Captain Cancelo, and no transfers, even though I should have, but I'll wait for 2 free transfers next week. I use both of them. Otherwise, I probably would have been making some changes in my backline. So yeah, I see what you mean. And sometimes rolling is the best thing to do. Yep, locked in. Good luck, Alex. Raya, Trent, Walker, Saliba, Dunk, Salah, Martinelli, Rodrigo, Jesus, Kane, Haaland, captain. Save my transfers for 2 in Game Week 6. That's good. You're in a good position for the weeks to come. Why James playing your team? It honestly doesn't make a difference, mate, because he's going to be subbed off automatically for Andreas. It honestly doesn't matter. I just had him in there. It really doesn't play a part. Good luck, Messi Monkey. If Tomiyasu's back and right back, who do you think will play as centre back? Right now, I think Gabriel and Saliba. Good luck, John. Good luck to you as well, Antonio. The great Adita as well. Good luck, Sudindra. Yeah, I'm hoping for Haaland Hall as well. Let's go, Andreas. Another 8-pointer, please. Yeah, oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. The last time I started Andreas, he got an 8-pointer, but I actually started him manually. I didn't have him come off the bench, so maybe I jinxed it. Good luck, Karaki. No problem, Peter. Good luck and goodbye, rock and roll. Yeah, sure, Messi Monkey. Sure. We'll answer a few more questions and then we'll be heading off. I'm not sure if there'll be a reaction stream tomorrow, but there is a possibility. If not, it could be Thursday. Just have to see in terms of when the best time would be. And then there will be the usual FPL content for next week. I mean, there's no break at all. I do prefer, you know, in a way, having a week to kind of digest things, do more research, and then prepare the content. But honestly, we've got no breaks. Yesterday was a triple upload, which I have done before, by the way, especially for UCL Fantasy and stuff like that. But still, it was absolutely mad. And I even recorded the UCL Fantasy video for tomorrow. It will be out tomorrow on the Wednesday, the updated draft. Good luck to you as well, Relum. Good luck, Raphael. Yeah, good vibes. Thank you very much. Good luck, Jared. Sometimes Gabriel's a reckless, isn't he? I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does, he does cost the team. You know, Wolves, he made a mistake. Arsenal then came back and won the game 2-1 as well. And obviously it happened with Fulham. Yeah, the thing is, though, Gabriel tends to be reliable, but he has these moments in him for sure. I agree. Good luck, LFC RY. RY. God, I captain Gundogan. Good luck, Lipuk. It's not a bad choice. I remember you asked me, is it lunacy or something like that the other day? It's not a bad choice in my opinion. I just prefer others, but you could be onto something. What? Who should I start? Well, the deadline is over, Ahmed, so you can't make the change, but I would have probably started the Silva, although Andreas has been the better option this season, despite I think he has fewer points. Yeah, come on, Gameweek 5. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. It's always good to have you on here. Have you on here? Yeah, sometimes my brain kind of switches off at the very end. We've been talking for like over 2 hours, but it's been a blast. It felt like 1 hour at most. You see Nketiah future in Arsenal? I can't speak for the long-term future, but for the next kind of 3 or 4 years, I guess so. I mean, he signed a long-term contract. He'll play in the cups, such as the Europa League, so that should be fine. Good luck. Hope Robertson will play. Honestly, look, there's some big things that will determine my game week. Robertson starting, Haaland starting as well. If those two things happen, I'll be fairly confident of a good return. My team is Sanchez, Ward, Trippier, Cancelo, Trent, Emerson, James, Gundogan, Salah, Zaha, Andreas, Martinelli, Tony, Jesus and Plange. What do you think? It looks good. Plange is now out on loan, I believe, so you can move him on to Stansfield if you want 2 forwards. What you could also do is maybe upgrade. So yeah, you've only got 2 premiums, don't you? Well, you've only got Salah as your premium. So yeah, if you have a lot of squad depth, Antonio, what I'd be looking to do is maybe downgrade 1 or 2, have one decent bench option who can rotate with some of your players, and bring in possibly a premium forward. If not a second premium midfielder, it's completely up to you. I do like your midfield. It looks really good, but I do like having the different captaincy options, really, apart from Salah. Maybe go for Haaland, Kane, or De Bruyne. So that's just my opinion, but it's a good team overall. No Liverpool defence in my team. Yeah, good luck, mate. Good luck. Good luck, Dylan. May Haaland blank. I disagree. I hope Haaland gets a hat-trick, but it will be typical now. He will be benched, and I'm going to cry. Raya, Cancelo, Trent, Saliba, Dyer, De Bruyne, Diaz, Gross, Rodrigo, Haaland, Jesus. That's my team. It looks good. In the long term, I do prefer Sanchez over Raya and a few others like Lewis Dunk, and if not, obviously Botman, etc. for Eric Dyer. But the rest looks great, and I wouldn't change a thing. I have 2.9 million left in the bank. What you could do is maybe get Perisic for Dyer, although he is a rotation risk, and maybe Sanchez for Raya. Yeah, did I say Dyer the first time? I hope I did. Good luck, Dylan. Great stream as usual. Thank you, Kobe. Always a pleasure. Why playing James? He's going to be benched anyway. It honestly doesn't matter. Automatic substitutions take place and Andres Pereira will come in. It literally doesn't matter. I didn't even bother to change it. Haaland going to haul. We're going to enjoy his points, Dylan. Yep. Hopefully. I did James to Dunk. Good luck, mate. I do like James in the long term, but if you're going to bring James back in a few weeks and it doesn't really cost you, it's fine. Sanchez, Ward, Trent, Saliba, Cancelo, Cucurella, James, Salah, Rodrigo, Martinelli, Gross, Andreas, Jesus, captain, Haaland Vice, random 4.5 million forward. Looks good to me. Yeah, I don't think I'd change too much, actually. Your team looks fairly solid. In the future, you could consider a free forward formation. You can go for Mitrovic or Tony, but then you'd have to downgrade someone else. But honestly, it looks great. Did James to Cucurella? That looks completely fine. I do prefer James, but obviously he's missing out, so it just makes complete sense. Good luck, mate. Anders puts his team Sanchez, Walker, Trent, Cancelo, Sterling, Salah, Rodrigo, Fornals, De Silva, Jesus and Firmino. Some big differentials in there. I don't trust Fornals and Firmino in the long term, but I did highlight Fornals as a good budget option in pre-season. Good luck, mate. You've got also Sadie, James, Patterson and Pope on the bench. Wow, so you've got 2 rotating goalkeepers. Wow, yeah, your team is quite different. I'll give you that. And you're triple captaining Sterling, aren't you? Unless you kind of backed out. Need a Brighton clean sheet and we'll take a Dunk bullet header goal. I wouldn't mind that. And yeah, a Brighton clean sheet would be amazing. It would. Bellingham captain next week. Bellingham, yeah, we'll see. Wait, is James not playing this week? No, he's not. He's just in my starting 11 because I didn't change it, and he's going to be subbed off anyway automatically for Andreas. He's not going to play. He's ill, I believe. It's not a long-term problem. What a wildcard. Salad. I'm exhausted. Yeah, good luck. You never walk alone, Anchor. Hopefully your wildcard pays off. When is the UCL draft video? Tomorrow. It's already done. It's available for members, so be sure to check it out, and for patrons as well. But it's going to be out tomorrow for all subscribers. Thoughts on Cancelo captain? I think he's the best defender to captain this week, and he's probably in my top 5 behind Haaland, should he start, De Bruyne, Salah. Yeah, I think Cancelo will be my 4th best captaincy option this week. I have double leads. Any thoughts? It depends on what, but I like the midfielders, and I think one is fine. I think one Leeds player would be enough for me. I like Rodrigo a lot. I also like Harrison. Aronson's pretty interesting, but yeah, I'd be concerned about double leads in the future, but they do have some really good fixtures, so it's not a problem right now. I just don't back their defence. Thank you, Messi Monkey. Will Haaland play against Nottingham Forest? I mean, I think he will. That's why I captain him, but I could be wrong. We have no way of knowing, and Pep is an absolute troll. I'll probably have a picture up on the wall with his face on it and playing darts, and if he does bench him tomorrow. Let's wait and see. I hope Salah blanks, Captain Haaland. I hope both of them do well, but Haaland does better. That's the way I'm looking at it. How much do you think Akanji will come in if he goes City? Probably 5 million. I mean, actually, the thing is, Sergio Gomez was 4.5. Yeah, I think 4.5 million is my guess. Maximum 5, but 4.5 is my guess. Triple Brighton this week. Good luck, mate. I hope it pays off for you. Yeah, I think 2's the sweet spot, but 3 could be great for the next 5 game weeks. Nottingham Forest will score. They are good. I mean, they didn't score against Spurs, though. And City, if they play a strong team, I mean, they've got the best defence still overall. And they're one of the best defences so far this season. So I disagree. But honestly, it's football. Forest could score, of course. Welcome, Marcus Moustache. Remember to like the video before you leave, guys. Thank you, Lipuk. Thank you very much. Hi, mate. Wildcarded. Kane captain. Good luck, Abhinav. Kane's a good option this week. I mean, in terms of captaincy, he wouldn't be at the forefront of my ideas, but he's not a bad option for sure. Tomorrow, Paswell. Tomorrow. It's already out for members and Patreons, so it's up on YouTube, but it's not available for everyone. It's going to be available tomorrow. Nico Williams scores. Mark my words. Oh my God. I will log off FPL if that happens, honestly. And Cancelo gets yellow carded. I'm ready to be hurt again. I'm not ready, but I mean, FPL doesn't wait. Pep Roulette doesn't care. It strikes and you cry. So yeah. Yeah, Anim, the Champions League fantasy videos tomorrow. No clean sheet for Liverpool. I hope not. I hope they do keep a clean sheet. I have Harrison and Rodrigo both to a wild card. Any thoughts? That's fine. I mean, you're probably wild carding around Game Week 9 maybe, and if so, that's a good, that's not too bad. If I had Rodrigo, I would have captained him. Fair enough. I don't know if I'd captain him, but he is a good option this week. Thank you, Anders. Good luck to you as well. Have to go now, calling a big points this game week. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for it. I mean, hopefully it's a high-scoring week, and we are on the receiving end. Let's wait and see. Edison, Wood, Cancelo, Trent, Estupinian, Sinchenko, Nico, Andreas, Diaz, Salah, Martinelli, Harrison, Jesus, Haaland, Plange. Team looks good. It looks good, mate. It looks good. Obviously, Plange is now out on loan. He'll probably go down in price fairly soon. But yeah, the rest looks pretty good. I think your defense could be a bit better, with a Perisic or a Reece James in the future, but it looks good for now. It's a good team. I would downgrade Edison to Sanchez and then upgrade your defense. So you could do maybe Sinchenko to Perisic, or you could go to Reece James when he's available. You could also maybe upgrade Nico Williams if you want to Saliba. It's up to you what you want to do with your team. And your midfield is fine as it is, to be fair. I like it. And your attack is also good. Forest squad has a big potential. Yeah, but it might take them some time to gel. I would wait a bit. Thank you, Anders. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you'll get points as well, but not enough to captain him. But then again, it also is a psychological thing. I have confidence in Salah and these big options who have done it before compared to Rodrigo, who might be a one-hit wonder, you could say. He obviously has been good in the past at Valencia as well. Didn't change my team in light of the James news. Same here. Already did Mount and De Silva to Gross and Rodrigo from -4. Captain Haaland as well. Let's go. Let's wait and see. Hopefully it turns out to be right. And I like those midfielder transfers. It looks great. Mount could backfire, but honestly, in the long term, it's the right decision, I think. I'm saying it now, Nico Williams will cause us a lot of issues. He shouldn't, though, but it could happen, of course. Benzema or Lewandowski? Right now, Benzema, but overall, I think Lewandowski's the better player. Suarez, for me, is a level above both of them, though, because not only is he a great goal scorer, he's a fantastic dribbler, and he also has more assists than both of them. So, for me, the way I'd rank it overall in their careers, Suarez first, Lewandowski second, and Benzema third. Right now, it'd be the complete opposite, with Benzema first, Lewandowski second, Suarez third. Will Haaland start? I believe so, but honestly, I can't tell you for sure. It's just a guess. Pray Liverpool gets relegated. It's not going to happen, though. Am I the only one who can't sign into FPL anymore? I mean, the game is updating, so you got to wait. You got to wait. What do I do? My game says it's updating. I think it has some random stats. You can read them. I mean, there's nothing you can do. So once the game is back up, you can sort your team out for next week. I mean, well, the weekend, should we say. What time are the lineups coming out? In 17 minutes, no? Yeah, it's always... The deadline is 1.5 hours. Yeah, 1.5 hours before. So 17 minutes, we should get the lineups. FPL site crashed and wouldn't let me do my transfers. I am mudded. Wow. I mean, that's why... I mean, it's not that's why. It's happened to me before, by the way. Last season, you know, the site can crash sometimes when a lot of people are making transfers. This stuff can happen. So I try to have everything sorted 20 minutes before the deadline. Obviously, easier said than done. I'm not blaming you. Benzema third. What are you smoking, bro? What, you think Benzema's better than Lewandowski and Suarez overall? I mean, compared to Lewandowski, that's debatable, but not for me. I'm not saying he's third now. I mean, that's the key difference. He's the best player in the world right now, or one of the best, but he's not the best overall from those three strikers. Not for me. Thanks for an excellent stream and for taking all our questions. Much appreciated. Thank you to here. Thank you very much. Did you not make changes? I got Gross and Sanchez for Ramsdale and Neto. Those were my two changes, yeah. How low will Son's price get? I'm not sure what his price is right now, but I think it's already gone down a bit. Isn't he 11.7, 11.8? But yeah, I mean, let me just check a second. Let's check Heung-min Son. I still got the site available, by the way, because I haven't refreshed it. So yeah, Son's 11.8 million, 12% ownership. I mean, West Ham away, Fulham at home. If he starts against Fulham, I think that's a big return for him. Man City away, he tends to do well anyway. The fixtures are very mixed for Spurs, I will say that. And that's another reason why I didn't go for Perisic the other week and I went for Cucurella instead. But yeah, I think he'll probably go down again. His ownership's gone from like 26% to 12%, so there is a big difference. Watching today's games? Yeah, probably. I just have to decide which ones exactly. The away kits are like that because of a Chrome extension. It shows the away kits. So just type that in on Google and you'll find it. Yeah, my game crashed. Any idea when it'll be back up and running? Probably in half an hour. Probably by 7 for sure, but yeah, half an hour. Be a bit patient. Thoughts on Pogba incident? Yeah, I saw a bit of it. It's a wild story, isn't it? Absolutely wild. Away kits for Chelsea, yeah. Like I said, it's the FPL away kits Chrome extension. Guess Andreas is coming off my bench for James. Same here. Hoping for a Fulham. That's the problem, though. I've got him, but I've also got Brighton with Robert Sanchez and Gross. So, yeah, hopefully if Fulham score, it's down to Andreas. He's involved. He gets some bonus points. And if not, hopefully he blanks. He gets maybe 2 points. And, yeah, I can get my clean sheet from Sanchez and all of that jazz. But let's see. Yeah, the Pogba story is crazy, isn't it? Saw quite a few experts predict Haaland will start. Would be more afraid of him going mad and not have captained him. Yeah, I see what you mean. But honestly, Salah's still a great option this week. But if Haaland starts and I didn't have him captain, I'm not watching the game. Welcome, Alwi. Don't goal tonight. Honestly, I don't mind. As long as Brighton keep the clean sheet. Who do you want Arsenal to buy before the transfer window closes? They need a midfielder. I'm not sure exactly who. But, you know, players like Paredes, for example, are available. You know, PSG want to sell him. I would take him. He can play that deep lying playmaker role and help Arsenal in the build-up. And he can be a really good cover when Partey is injured. So I think Paredes would be kind of a biased pick. I like De Paul a lot, but I don't think Atletico would sell him. So, yeah, midfielders. Tielemans is not a bad choice either. He was incredible against Chelsea. No, what I have on site is the FPL website. It's just the extension. So you type it in, it will take you to the Chrome extension kind of page, even if you're on another browser. And you literally just click add to your browser, and then it will do it automatically. So it is the FPL website. What do you think of Leeds Aronson? I do prefer Harrison, and even more so Rodrigo. He's my favourite. But Aronson's a good choice. He's probably the best around his price and below. At a bit more, though, I do prefer Gross. Top 3 players from the last 2 decades, according to you. Messi, for me, is undoubtedly number 1. That's just my opinion. Then it becomes a bit tricky. I mean, Ronaldo probably has to be second, but I really like the Brazilian Ronaldo. I think he's incredible. I don't really see enough of him. I love Thierry Henry. He should have won a Ballon d'Or too, at the very least. But it's really tough to put him in the top 3. He's definitely the best Premier League player of all time, but top 3 players in the last 2 decades, bit tougher. So Messi, Ronaldo, and then I would probably go for either R9 or Ronaldinho. It's really tough, though. They're all incredible players. You can make a case for all of them. And don't forget Zidane. I mean, my top 5 or top 6, would be... So those 4 that I said, Messi, Ronaldo, R9, Ronaldinho, Zidane, and Henry. That's my top 5. 1-0 to Fulham. Sanchez gives a pen. Don't say it. As long as Andreas wins the penalty, okay, I can comfort myself a little bit. Ander Herrera, thoughts? I wouldn't look to buy him. I'd rather go for Paredes, to be fair, but he's not a bad player. If FPL transfers and subs were like UCL Fantasy, it would be so much easier. Oh, definitely, but who likes easy? Well, I do. Aura has been linked to clubs for years and still hasn't moved. That's the thing. He was linked to Nottingham Forest, though, but it just didn't materialise. I don't think Arsenal should go for him, though. I'd rather go for Maddison. He's more of an attacking midfielder. Yeah, Maddison would be my preference if we were to go for another one like that. Yeah, but I've already replied to your wildcard team. I said it was... wait, let's see. I remember you said you wildcarded, you put Kane captain. I'm not sure exactly what your team is off the top of my head, but I didn't see it. And I'm pretty sure if I did, I would have replied to it. What time is it in the UK now? It's 6:20. That's why it's gone incredibly dark. It's really cloudy. You can barely see me. It's like I'm telling a horror story, and I probably am, because look at this team. It's not going to do that well, is it? Yeah, Zidane's incredible. Yeah, he's in the top 5. This is the thing, though. I also grew up with a different, I grew up with Suarez, David Villa, Fabregas, who I really liked, and all these different players. Lewandowski, Suarez. Suarez is really underrated. I think he's in the top 10, arguably. Definitely top 3, 5 strikers of the last 2 decades. I've got Sterling, hopefully he bags. Good luck to you, mate. Thorson Tebas not letting register players of mid-table teams in Premier League spending 50 million for fun. I think the rules are too harsh in La Liga, and that also plays a part. But Barcelona are taking the piss, but nothing's going to happen to them because, they're kind of backed by the government, and they're so important to La Liga that they can't risk, really punishing them, which they should be by financial fair play. I understand there's a revenue gap. Yeah, I mean, even Betis, I think, is another team that's struggling with all of that. Salah would score, but would he get more points than Haaland? Well, he can. The way I see it is if Haaland starts, he will score more points. But honestly, Salah's still an incredible player, and it will be close. Henry over Aguero? Henry's better than Aguero. I mean, in terms of goal scoring, is similar. And look, I'm Argentinian, so I'm not biased in this. I'm an Arsenal fan and Argentinian, so it cancels each other out. For me, Henry's a different gravy. Aguero is probably like top 3 strikers in the Premier League history. And in terms of goal scorers, he's right up there. But Henry's a better overall player. I don't think... Yeah. For me, Henry's the best Premier League player of all time. So he's definitely better than Aguero. James is not going to play this week. Yeah, I know. It's not a problem. Andres comes in. Simple. No defender in the top 5. I mean, that's the thing. Maldini would be one that I'd say. I mean, defenders and goalkeepers are underrated in general. But kind of 5... players that came in the top of my list were those. And Messi's definitely first. I'm not going to change that. Maddison injured. Is that confirmed? Mexico away kit is wavy. The Germany away kit is the best, though. I hate Germany from a football perspective. But yeah, the kits are all right. I mean, yeah, I think the Mexico kit I saw briefly. The Germany kits I had a good look at. Dinner time. I don't have dinner this time. I have it around 9 or 10 p.m. Like they do in Spain and South America. Malaysia's 1:20 a.m. It's not too bad for you. Normally when you're in these streams it's 3 or 4 a.m. so it could be worse. Gross not in Brighton first team. What? Surely not. Will you be doing a watch-along stream tomorrow? Nah. I mean, I want to do a reaction stream if possible after the games are done. But I'm not even sure if I can do that. I've also got the UCL Fantasy video coming out and the transfer tips, the team selection. There's so much to cover. Taking Rodrigo's vice-captain, taking huge risk. Depends who your captain is, to be fair. Haaland will be from the first minute. I think so, but honestly, I could be wrong. KDB has like 280 less games. Yeah, but the thing is, KDB is a better playmaker than Gerrard, but Gerrard's an all-rounder. I mean, both of them are incredible, don't get me wrong. And actually, I think De Bruyne will maybe surpass him in terms of level, but Gerrard is a great player, and he dragged Liverpool to titles, like the FA Cup in 2005, I think, or 2006, and also the Champions League in 2005. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though, the Argentina away kit. It's good. It's something different, but I think the kits last year were better, and Argentina were unbeaten in those kits, which made it even better. Aguero versus Shearer. It's tough. I mean, I didn't grow up with Shearer. That's the thing. Shearer was maybe more of a complete forward in terms of he was an absolute amazing in the air, a bullet header. Aguero's a better dribbler. He's also a bit quicker, and it's tough. I would go with Aguero, but it's really tough between the two of them. He had obviously the best kind of goal per minute ratio of any player in Premier League history, along with Henry. So yeah, Aguero for me would probably be the one. It's really close though. International level, Shearer was better as well, you would argue. It's tough. Akanji to City makes no sense at all. I mean, they have Stones. They've got Ake, who's coming back from injury soon. Laporte will be back in October, I think. They've got Diaz. So it's not absolutely necessary, but it just bolsters their squad depth. My wildcard team, Sanchez, Ward, Van Dijk, Cucurella, Walker, Castagna, Walker, Peters, Sterling, Rodrigo, Gordon, Maximan, Trossard, Haaland, Jesus, Tony. What do you think? I'll be honest, I like some of the picks, but some I don't agree with at all, such as Castagna and Walker Peters. You know, Leicester and Southampton are two of the worst defences. I would actually rather go for example, Saliba, Lewis Dunk, and a few others. I can understand why you didn't go for Dunk. You've already got Sanchez, but I think there are better options than those two. Sterling could be quite nice, but I do prefer Salah, De Bruyne, and 8 million midfielders. I don't trust Maximan, and I think he is a bit of an injury doubt, if I'm not mistaken. Trossard's pretty good. I like him. Your front three is incredible, but I'm very concerned with kind of some of your defenders and the midfield. Gordon, I don't agree with at all, but obviously it's just my opinion. Hopefully you do well. KDB or Jesus for captain. KDB. Obviously the deadline has passed though. My wildcard midfield: Sterling, Kulusevski, Diaz, Harrison, Gundogan. I like the midfield. Once again, I do prefer having another midfielder than Sterling. I still am not that convinced by Raheem, but look, the thing is with Sterling, he has done in the past. Whenever he has got the minutes, he always gets 200 plus FPL points and 19 plus goal contributions. My fantasy site is down at the moment. Yeah, if I refreshed it, it will be down as well. Do you think I should get Salah off of De Bruyne? I'd wait and see. Look, if you were to get rid of Salah, De Bruyne is the best replacement, but I would probably just keep Salah. What's the league code for UCL? It's if you check my UCL fantasy video, the first draft, it's there. It's in the link in the description. I can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, I've been having some problems with that because pretty much I've got two leagues now. The one from last season and a new one, and I'm not sure what happened, to be honest. I think I made a mistake, but it's just annoying. I wish I could just merge the two of them together or delete one of the leagues and just have one of them. So I'm going to try to fix that. Man, how do you manage all the videos along with your job? I mean, it's just crazy at the moment. Right now, I'm kind of searching for something long-term, so I've been having a bit more time, but yeah, I'm kind of on holidays at the moment anyway. KDB versus Modric. Modric is an incredible player. I think De Bruyne is a better player overall, though. But in terms of career, Modric is still ahead, but I think De Bruyne, in terms of quality, is higher already. I'm not a Barcelona fan, no. I'm an Arsenal fan and Argentina fan. Just say my game week, bench Trippier for Andreas and transferred James to Cucurella. Fair enough, that could be pretty good. Eres argentino, soy de Irán y vivo en Suecia, hermano. Wow, that is such a combination. Pero sí, soy de Argentina, tengo doble nacionalidad, entonces británico y de Argentina. Why does it say that my fantasy team is down? Don't worry, Thomas, don't worry. It's just the website. It will be back very soon. Thoughts on guests for some streams in the future, non-FPL, FPL related? I used to have, I think when I first did videos and stuff, I had like my friends on and stuff. It's something that, you know, I'm open to do in the future, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Obviously, it's very hard to kind of plan around with scheduling and stuff like that, but, you know, I'm open to it. Rumours Cucurella's injured. Oh, God, come on. If Cucurella's injured, Haaland's benched, Robertson's benched, and Martinelli's benched, honestly, you're not going to hear from me until maybe next year. Jeez, no way. Padel, need to get rid of Cash as Villa's vulnerable. Also poor fixtures. Should I go for Walker? Honestly, I don't like Walker long term, so I would rather go for Dunk. Yeah, but you do have other options. You got Saliba, you got Perisic. You know, you're not limited to those two really. KDB versus Becks. I think KDB is ahead. Beckham was a great player, a bit underrated because of his off the field antics or his modelling and whatever. And I'd go for Kevin De Bruyne, though. Do you think Kevin De Bruyne will be the next uncrowned king of what, though? In terms of maybe Ballon d'Or, yeah, maybe. He is the best midfielder in the world, and he has been for the last few years. Open the Twitter to see the lineups. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that very soon. When the lineups are out, And yeah, well, I'll bring it up on screen, and that's it. And then we'll be going off. And thank you very much, by the way, for helping us reach over 200 likes. And yeah, the stream was very busy, especially at the beginning. So thank you very much. I think we had nearly 400 watching at one point. It felt like more even. Everything good with the stream. That's good to see. But yeah, once the lineups are out, let me know. I mean, it should be on the dot anyway. So it should be interesting. Qué bueno, me encanta Argentina. Sí, creo que es en 2014 Argentina con Irán fue un partido durísimo y de pedo ganó Argentina, de pedo, con ese golazo de Messi, pero la verdad Irán defendió muy bien ese partido y era quizás el partido más difícil que tuvo Argentina hasta Suiza y Alemania en la final. Should I regret not taking Zinchenko or James out and starting Zinchenko? I think in the long term, no. Zinchenko isn't a bad sell because of the fixtures, but at the same time, you could see clean sheets against Villa and Everton, and I think he will start. My team is Sanchez, Cucurella, Perisic, and Trent. Yeah, that looks good as a defensive line. No way Cucur's injured. Must be trolling. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point, but I want to see the source first. Yeah, Glenn, or GLM. The video is coming out tomorrow. It's already available for channel members and Patreon, so it's already out, but tomorrow. Yeah, no, James is out. I know that, Connor. Don't worry. I know he's out. He's just there. I know. Andres is going to come on. It literally doesn't matter. Gvardiol, I don't know how to pronounce that, to Chelsea. But joining in 2023. Wow. I mean, Chelsea have spent a lot. I mean, I think United spent the most, and Chelsea are second. Yeah, water break. I've had one, but either way, I'm going to be ending very soon. So Maximan injured. He is a doubt. I'm not sure if he will miss out though. City players always underappreciated what they've been doing since the last 5-6 seasons. In terms of Premier League team, because for me, the best in terms of on paper, the achievement, obviously other than Leicester, that's the best achievement in Premier League history. I would say Arsenal, and obviously that's very biased, you could say, but between 2002 and 2004, I think that Arsenal team, like the way they played football and being unbeaten in 2004 and also unbeaten away in 2002. However, the best Premier League team of all time, when you look at a period of 5 years, you could argue it's the City team because they're also playing incredible football and they don't maybe have like a standout player other than De Bruyne, but they just always, in terms of as a team, they're just absolutely incredible. They just maybe need the Champions League to crown themselves, but yeah, they are maybe a bit underappreciated. Dylan, Haaland as captain is very bold. Yeah, it is, but a lot of people are doing the same thing anyway, so it's not like I'm the only person in the world. By the way, what do you think of Stupinian as a replacement to Nico Williams? I think it's a good upgrade. My preference is Dunk, though. We haven't won UCL, that's why no one is rating us. Yeah, but, I mean, when you talk about Premier League team, you're talking about the Premier League achievements, 100 points or being unbeaten, conceding 15 goals, stuff like that. Those are kind of what separate the Chelsea 2005 team, the Arsenal 2004 team, and this City team with the rest. But yeah, in terms of when you talk about a team overall, like what's better, United 99 or this City team, maybe some people will go for United because they won everything. And they also did it against some top quality opposition like an Arsenal 98 team that did the double and they were playing some great football as well. I could do nothing with James, already took a -4, so now I have a Nico and Trippier on the bench. Yeah, I mean, sometimes these things happen when you make early transfers. I'm in a bit of a similar position to you, mate, so it is what it is. Let me now go to the lineup, so I'll try to get it on screen. Should be able to get it. Excuse me? Don't think I've seen the lineup. Yeah, I'm checking Twitter right now, but honestly, I don't see it. Premier League. Okay, yeah, Brentford and Palace, team news. We'll bring that on screen and then we're going to be wrapping up this video. So here we go. This is the Brentford lineup, and I'll also be getting up the Palace one in a second. Just want to have them ready. Okay, so here we go. Palace. And then, yeah, Brighton, which is what we all want to see. They're the most interesting from an FPL perspective right now. Yeah, Brighton and Fulham. So, yeah, bear with me for a second. I've got to put these up on screen. Where's Fulham? Oh, here we go. They were the first ones to put it. Oh, geez, so many lineups. Give me a break, goddammit. Fulham. We'll do it in order because Fulham are at home and also Crystal Palace are at home. And yeah, bear with me for a second, guys. Jesus, this is a bit long, I can't lie. Oh, no, yeah, no, that's it. Southampton, yeah, no, that was another thing. All right, so Crystal Palace, Gaeta in goal, Klein, Gay, Anderson, Ward, Schlupp, Decore, Eze, Olise, Mateta, and Zaha. He's back, and I did predict Zaha to be back in the lineup, but I keep on saying, I'm being honest with you, I just didn't know. So it was literally a guess. It's lucky. It's based on, gut feeling. If Zaha's available, he's going to play, whatever. I'm not going to gas it up too much. So that's the Palace lineup. Good news for those of you with Zaha. I could see him doing very well today. Let's now bring up the Brentford lineup. Raya's in goal, Hickey, Zanka, me, Henry, and Janelt, Baptiste, Jensen, and Bumo, Lewis Potter, and Tony. So, yeah, no Damsgaard still, and no Norgard as well. That's another one. But, yeah, I would expect Palace to win this game, but let's wait and see. Then Fulham. We've got Leno, Tete, Thorson, Ream, Robertson, Paulinho, Reed, Andres Pereira, Kibano, Mitrovic, and the Cordova Reed. And then as for Brighton, let's wait and see. Sanchez, Webster, Dunk, March, Mwepu, McAllister, Trossard, Gross, Caicedo, Estupinian, and Veltman. So Veltman is back as well. So I've been good with the predictions so far. I've been very confident, saying, yeah, Veltman's going to start. I think Zaha's going to start all this. Hopefully I'm right about the big ones, especially when it comes to my team. Gross and Sanchez, please, come on, give me some points, god damn it. Anyway, Hickey. Yeah, Hickey's been playing all the games. Remember, he's the guy that bodied Ronaldo in Game Week 2. The Silva benched, yeah, that's the other big absentee. Yeah, I just forgot that. I like Liverpool, we will win Champions League. I don't know. I mean, the way the season has started, I'd say no, but Liverpool can have a poor Premier League season and still win the Champions League, as they did in 2005. Hot take, but the Premier League at their best is tougher than Champions League. I agree. The thing is with these Champions Leagues and Cups, there is a lot of luck. Look at Madrid last season. They deserve to win the Champions League. I'm not going to deny that, but they were lucky on many occasions. Against PSG, they were probably the worst team over the two legs. Against Chelsea as well, absolutely dominated in the second leg. Against City, absolutely dominated in both legs, but they still went through. And I think the league is harder to win. You have to be a better team to win the league and more consistent. So I do agree with you on that one. What else do we have? Hello, sir. Quick question. Can you sub in a player that has played in UCL Fantasy? Yes. No. You can't sub in a player that has played. So it has to be someone that is yet to play. So we have the 6th and 7th of September. The Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So if someone blanks from your Tuesday players, you can sub them off for someone playing on the Wednesday, but not someone who's already played. The same goes for the captaincy. Si en 2014 Leo marcó y Argentina ganó 1-0, pero el árbitro le robó un penal a Irán. No sé si me acuerdo de eso. Puede ser que era Zabaleta o Romero. Yo tengo una historia muy complicada con los árbitros, no solo en el Premier League, pero también en los mundiales y todo. Para mí, Argentina debería haber tenido un penal en contra de Alemania. La falta de Neuer con Higuaín, pero bueno. Puede ser que tengas razón. Y a veces con estos equipos grandes le favorecen un poquito. Can you sub in a player? Sorry, I just said that. I got rid of Zaha for Gross. I mean, it could backfire this week, but they're both good options long term. Fue un partido muy durísimo en Copa del Mundo, sí. No me acuerdo muy bien los grupos, pero creo que Irán tiene un grupo bastante complicado este año. Need a Brentford clean sheet because I have a Raya, but yeah, I don't think it's quite likely, but good luck, mate. Good luck. Yeah, I could put one football out, that's true. I do that sometimes, to be fair. Yeah, the deadline passed at 6 p.m, so half an hour ago, or 37 minutes ago. Rest in peace, Raya. Maybe. I took the risk and captain Haaland. Yeah, same here. Good luck, mate, and hopefully it pays off for us. But now I've got to wait till Wednesday to see if he starts. Oh, God. Yeah, this week is going to be amazing, isn't it? You can survive 2 matches, but it's impossible in a 38-game-week season. Yeah, true. I just think you have to be a better team to win the Premier League than the Champions League. I agree on that one. But obviously, it's still really difficult to win the Champions League. Great clubs like Arsenal have never won it. It's not easy. Even United have only won 3, I think. And, a club of United stature should have 5+. So, yeah, I agree. But yeah, there's a debate for both of them. I would rather, as an Arsenal fan, I'd rather win the Champions League just because they've never won it. But at the same time, the Premier League is more beautiful to win. If we had like a similar amount of both, I'd rather win the Premier League because it's more difficult. And yeah, I just like the trophy more as well in general, in terms of what it means and everything. But thank you everyone for watching. We are, just to confirm my final team for Game Week 5. It's in the mud, you could say. So Sanchez in goal, Cucurella, Robertson, Cancelo, Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, Dylan, well done. Andres Pereira is going to be coming on for James. I just didn't change it, okay. Salah, Gross, and Martinelli. I made 2 free transfers this week, by the way. Sanchez and Gross out for... in for Ramsdale and Neto, Jesus. And Jesus, speaking of Jesus, up front with Haaland, who is my captain. And I've got Bailey second on my bench and Archer third. Let's wait and see. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm looking to break into the top 1 million, but it might have to wait another week, especially if all the worst case scenarios end up happening. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. It really means a lot. And we managed to get over 200 subscribers, over 200 likes. It's time to call it a day, lads. Honestly, time to call it a day. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to get to 13,000. And there's going to be a UCL fantasy video tomorrow, the updated draft. So be sure to check that out. It's already available for members. So any of you watching that is a member, it's already out on the channel and also available for patrons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, for all the latest FPL, UCL, and F1 fantasy updates. And also check the links in the description below, including the FPL League, the Discord server, which it would be a pleasure to have you on there as well, and also many, many more things, such as all my links in one place, which I have as the top link there available to you. So I'm going to answer a few more questions quickly, and then we'll be wrapping up. Yeah, I already showed all the lineups if you kind of just reversed a little bit more, but we've covered everything. And in terms of FPL perspective, just Josh De Silva's benched, I think. Best captain for Game Week 6? Oh, I mean, I think it's a bit too early, no, to say. Because I think rotation could be even bigger in Game Week 6. With only a few days in between the Champions League match day 1 and Game Week 6. So I have to reassess and think about that one. This stream's a bit mad. James injury, Roberts bench discussion, Perisic starting, Haaland possibly benched. Perisic starting doesn't surprise me, but I think he'll be benched in Game Week 6. The rest, though, is an absolute pain. ¿Verdad? Sí fue Zabaleta quien falló el balón. Irán están en el grupo B con Inglaterra, Estados Unidos y Gales. Ah, sí, me acuerdo. Desde el punto de vista de Inglaterra parece un grupo muy fácil, pero veremos. Ojalá que sufra un poco. Y buena suerte para el Mundial. Sí, hasta luego. Thank you very much, and it's good to talk to you in English and Spanish. The -4 when you make a sub only stays for 1 week, right? No. When you take a -4, the transfer is permanent. The only time a transfer isn't permanent is when you take or you play the free hit in FPL or the limitless in UCL Fantasy. Well, not a sub, only when you make a transfer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like Haaland gets rotated next week. That's the way I see it, and it's really, really risky, but let's wait and see. Yeah, the game is still updating, but don't worry, it should be up fairly soon, probably as soon as this stream is over, if not around 7 PM UK time. Thank you to everyone. It's been a blast, and good luck for Game Week 5. Hopefully, the benchings and all these headaches aren't too bad, and I'll see you next time.